It's Friday, December 12th, 2025. Alright, let's start out, as we usually do, by reminding people if you'd like to support our show, then you can go to supportourshow.com and pick an option from there. Do I have any programming notes? Oh, yes! Programming note, if I have my... Yes, tomorrow, Saturday, December 13th, I will be on the live trivia show for Heartbeat Hero Radio. So if you'd like to tune in to possibly watch me be on either the winner myself or on a winning team for a third time in a row, then you can do that at 8:30 p.m. Paris time, which is 11:30 a.m. Pacific, which would make it 2:30 p.m. Eastern, right? 12, 1, 2. Yeah, 30. Yeah. And then you can adjust times out there from wherever. I don't know how Paris time is in relation to, in the United States, for those who may not live here, there's the East Coast, there's the West Coast, and then there's the middle. The Midwest, Mideast, I guess. I've never heard anybody say Mideast, but they say Midwest. So basically there's Pacific time, Eastern time, and Central time. There's also Mountain time. What do we have, 4 time zones, right? Is it 4? Is there 4 in the United States? I think it's 4 time zones.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
right, so
weirdly, 2 of them are kind of the center-ish, and then the other 2 are on the extreme ends.
Well, Hawaii
is
its own. Is Hawaii in the same time?
Yeah, but Hawaii's not part of the country. It's outside. So I'm talking about the landmass.
Yes.
Yeah.
The landmass.
Anything that's out in the water, all bets are off. Much like an Epstein sex island, all bets are off when you're out in the water.
Paris is 6 hours ahead of Eastern Standard Time.
Well, no, what I was getting at was I think
that's a huge shift for you. Shit.
Oh, it's not bad.
Oh, no, because it's 3 hours.
It's 11. Yeah, it's not bad. It's not bad. No, the earliest I've had to do a show was 8 a.m. Pacific, because that was the one with Robin Ogden, because he's in London. So he had to do it early in the afternoon, and they're 9 hours, I think, ahead, or 8 hours, 9 hours, whatever. So that was a pretty radical thing where it was basically evening for him and barely morning. I was up for like an hour.
That's very different energy.
It is. But once I have 4 shots of anything into me, then I'm fine. So it's all right. I'm flying like I'm on. It's
a very open, telling statement right there.
Isn't it? Well, I mean, really, it's probably true of anything, as long as they're uppers. In any event, the thing is, in the United States, like I said, Pacific is the West Coast, Eastern is the Atlantic, or the East Coast, and then we have Central and Mountain. And the thing about that's weird is Central would make you think that based on the way the country is, that there's kind of like 3 zones, yet there's 4. So I don't know what the equivalent of Central time is for Europe, if such a thing even exists. I don't know what the most central time zone is for Europe. I don't know if Paris is that, or is close to that, or what, because it's such a much radically different and larger, assortment of different countries and nation states and everything else. So I don't know what the center of Europe is. Whereas Central time, to me, I can say, well, if you're looking for like the dead center of the country as far as time zones, Central, as its name would imply, is the center. And then you kind of branch out either way. But I don't know what Europe. So I don't know if Paris is something that's considered kind of the centralized thing, because I know there's UTC, but I don't know where. UTC I think is more of a, what do you call it, latitude, longitude, I almost said longitude thing, or if there's actually a country where it's, I don't know where the center is. Greenwich Mean Time, that's GMT. I don't know what that is. I don't know any of that stuff. So anyway, that's why I kind of give, for, my point of reference, Paris, East, and Pacific, because that kind of covers the whole range. But depending on where you are, you may have a closer approximation to Paris time. But all I know is it's 8:30 p.m. Paris time, so make your adjustments from there. Fortunately, luckily, even on my phone, I have to have a clock now, because I screwed up for many, many, many of these shows. I screwed up Paris and London because I'm a dunce. So now I actually have a world clock that has Paris on it, so I can always double check, because I have that kind of that after image of inability to tell time. So I always just double check, but I'm very confident that 8:30 is 11:30, because we've done enough of these now that I have that located. So 8:30 p.m. Paris time I will be on. That's my very, very long way of saying that I'll be on that live. And then, of course, he releases it, I don't know, within a week or so, if you want to watch it after the fact. And he's doing his top 20 synthwave countdown is the theme of the show, because apparently the Christmas theme doesn't do well, and I don't really know why. But I guess if you say you have a top 20, that's sort of... You know what? Actually, I know why a top 20 works. Because people just love to fucking dispute a list. Oh, that's your number one? Ah, you don't know what you're talking about. So I know why top 20s always do well. It's the same thing when you see best of lists, and everybody has to go in the comments and spend 15 hours debating what the best and worst was, and why you're wrong, or why you're right, or all this shit. So I do know why that's better than Christmas, which is, a holiday that's supposed to be centered around being nice to people. Well, who the fuck needs that anymore? I'd rather argue about whether, Boots McRiley is better than Hell McForgehead as far as a number one. Let's argue about that for 2 hours. Great.
Are you okay?
I don't know.
I mean, I know
Merry
I'm
Christmas.
sick, but are you okay?
I'm starting to wonder.
I mean, I'm the one that's got less sun than you at this point, and getting into the winter months.
I know, and I've had a great weekend so far painting wise, because I did the one painting, came out much better than I thought, because I'd never tried acrylic pens before, and it worked really, really well. Although there's an irony in that I had a set of cheap acrylic paint pens that I bought for something else, but I had them, and then I had a set of nicer Sharpie paint pens. Sharpie makes paint pens in all different sizes, which is great.
Yeah.
They make one with a nice brush head on it.
Yeah, they do.
And interestingly, the no-name knockoff $2 acrylic paint pens, the black paint pen was much better at covering than the Sharpie black, which is sort of weird to me, since Sharpie kind of is synonymous with black marker, black paint, whatever. But apparently they're using an inferior black. Their colors were better.
Man,
Sharpie colors were much nicer.
That's super black, the Magna Black or whatever it's called.
Oh, is it
Vanda Black or Vanta Black? Yeah, I want them to make a pen of that shit. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, that's never going to happen, because you saw they patented the hell out of that color so that they could charge everybody an arm and a leg for the truest black possible. Because
I know.
But that's okay. You know what? Somebody who knows how to do this stuff, just reverse engineer the color and up it
1 Pantone
1%.
Off. Yeah.
1% up. And then you can sell that as virtual Vanta, or Vantish. Sell it as Vantish for half the price, and you will fucking make a mint. Just out of spite. Yeah. Anyway, I think I'm fine. Because, like I said, I had a good... I did have something happen. You know the whole... the myth of... Or not myth. The stereotype of somebody, a creative person, waking up at like 2 a.m. with a brilliant idea. That's kind of a thing that people think happens a lot, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if that's ever happened to you. I have never had that happen until last week. I think it was on Tuesday. I woke up at 4 a.m. and I had this image in my head of my next painting, which I actually did on the last art stream. I actually sketched it out not sketched it, but I kind of fast painted it to get the idea kind of solidified. But I had this thing, and it's kept me up for a good 40 minutes because I kept adding to it in my head. Mm-hmm. It started out as just kind of a like a triangle floating over a city, like a bright red triangle. And then I started to add the clouds, and I started to think of the colors, and I started to like picture the city. And I was thinking of how I would put in like the light and the glow of the city. And I just kept building on it. And I was wide awake for like 40 minutes until I had the idea kind of locked down within the frame that I figured. And then as soon as I had that, I went back to sleep within 2 minutes.
Oh, that's good.
Like, okay, I got it. I just went to sleep.
I'm glad that you can get back to sleep that easily.
It was really weird because I've never had that before.
I don't wake up in the middle of the night, but what I do have is I have when I first wake up in the morning, I call it catching the philosophers as they leave the room. It's kind of like my brain has been up to like some kind of deep philosophical thinking that I'm not like privy to, and then I catch the tail end of it right as I wake up. So I'll be like not awake, laying there in bed, or like just have stumbled into the bathroom. I'll be like peeing, and I'll just be like, my head will be a brick, and then it's like I'll catch the wisp of a thought that's some kind of like deep, intense observation that ties a lot of shit together in a weird way, and I'll be like, whoa, and I'll have to hold on to it because it wants to get away from me. But it's kind of neat actually, because like I'll give you an example. So recently I had an ex-girlfriend contact me, which isn't bad, because normally that story starts out terrible, but they found stuff that I had made when I was in high school, some art that I realized was like, a lot of my art has like philosophical ties to it. I've always kind of used art for myself as like, it's always symbolic of something. So when they sent an image of this to me being like, hey, I just found this in the box, and I was going to throw it out, but I figured I'd send you, a picture of it, and they were laughing about how, they were getting rid of stuff and that they've had for way too long. And when I saw the image, it meant one thing to me, right? And I kind of laughed about it, and I remember what it meant then. And then I slept on it. And in the morning when I woke up, I was like not awake. I was kind of screwed up. And I caught the philosophers in the room right as they were leaving in my head. And I just kind of had this random thought of the fact that seeing that symbol reminded me that high school me didn't want to hang out with my parents. And it tied into this idea that, as your kids become adolescents, they're less interested in hanging out with you, and that it's not like, it's not a bad thing, it's not a direct insult, it's just that your kids are growing up and they want more time to themselves and their friends, and you shouldn't be offended. And it was this weird spark that like totally lit up this whole ray of thought. But it hit me like first thing in the morning when I'd woken up, when I wasn't really awake. And I think that's the biggest problem, is that it's like, I don't know what the computer is doing, but like, it's like my head. It's like it's like the super ego is doing shit, and then the normal ego is not online yet. And meanwhile, the it is taking a piss. Is what's going on. And so the super ego like spits it out, and then it's like I have to try and hold on to it, because sometimes I have these thoughts and I forget them because I don't focus on them enough, or enough shit happens, like if I have to get up and I have to run. But sometimes I'm able to hold on to them, and that's the closest I have to waking up in like in the middle of the night having an idea, which is that I have these things, and they happen. I probably get them like once or twice a week, but I probably can only hold. Let me rephrase that. I can probably hold on to them once or twice a week, and sometimes they're very funny, and sometimes they're very illuminating, and sometimes they're very grim. The grim ones, I think I try to forget. Where like you tie two things together and you're like, oh, that's not good. So yeah, I get it. It's great. It's great when you have a moment of epiphany. But like, I can have epiphany awake, like when I'm trying to work out a problem and I just keep batting my head around it, and then I'll walk away and I'll be doing other stuff, and then all of a sudden I'll figure it out. Like I have epiphany like that, and that feels really good. I like that epiphany when you're like, yeah, I figured it out, Yeah. Artistic epiphany is a lovely feeling to have. It's a transcending feeling a little bit.
Sure.
So, did you paint your thing already?
No, I painted the first base color, which is the red. because basically I'm going to have to tape it off. This is going to be, I now have an idea for the next two, which are going to be really experimental and different. This one, not so much experiment. This was just going to be different because I don't know if my idea for the city lights will work. It seems like logically it should. So the basic idea, but I have to do 2 coats of acrylic, the base. So I painted the red one today, and I'm going to let that dry for 24 hours. Then I'm going to hit it. I got to tape it, and then I'm going to do a coating of black with the triangle taped off so that it will remain. Kind of what I did with the moon, but this will be in the red. And then once that's done, then I have to tape it again for the cityscape so that I can do the sky. And then for the city, I just got a couple of yellow transparents and semi-transparents to do the glow of the lights. So I'm going to base... It's strange to try to describe it. Like I said, that art stream...
You can always wire it with actual lights.
No, well... No. Putting holes in the canvas is... I've It's bad enough I have to cut an X-Acto knife on the tape to get it to be able to tape it off, and I've luckily not cut through the canvas yet, but no, I have an idea. And then the one after that is either going to be really interesting or a complete disaster, because I'm going to attempt sort of a modern art, abstract 80s, like teal piece. I don't know how to describe it, but lots of lines and grids on it and weird kind of shape-based stuff. And it's almost going to be just a stream of consciousness painting. I'm not going to really plan it too much. I'm just going to kind of do it and see what happens. But the thing that I didn't realize, luckily I don't work at a lot of heavy coats of oil. I didn't realize oil paint can take up to 2 fucking years to fully cure. Now, fortunately, I don't think any of mine will take that long because I'm not doing a lot of heavy layers of paint. But Jesus Christ, 2 years for oil is a long time. I mean, I know it dries slowly, but Jesus.
Yeah, but then it dries and then it's there for fucking ever. I mean, that's
you usually have to put a coating of something over it, but yeah, whereas acrylic is dry within.
You know what? The thing is, I was just talking about this the other day because I was talking about how was it the Da Vinci's Last Supper is like disintegrating because Da Vinci liked to make up all his own fucking paints on the fly. Like he was very experimental. And how like they're desperately trying to figure out how to basically save the painting, and they can't stop tourists from taking flash photography of them, which also hurts them.
Right.
So yes, the reason I was looking this up was because I was trying to find a good copy of the Last Supper because I realized I had a lot of photos of my daughter sitting at like across from me at tables. I don't know why it is. It's just a weird phenomenon in my photos that like my son, I think it's because my son sits next to me very often. So like it's a different kind of photos, but I had a bunch of my youngest just sitting across from me. And you know how like, the iPhone has that whole sticker function where you can make a sticker.
Yeah. I
wanted a good copy of The Last Supper so I could just stick my daughter between and around everybody. Just as like a joke, like a quick joke. But I wanted a good copy of The Last Supper, and I couldn't find one. And eventually I found one on the Wikipedia site where they have they have a really nice scan you can download. But then I did something terrible, and I put, stickers of my daughter all over it just to make everybody laugh. And it was funny.
I'm sure.
Yeah. But then I was reminded, and I was talking about how, it's because it's fading. Because I think Google, their Google art thing, they did a scan. And they did like a virtual, not a revision, what do you call it? Revitalization.
Restoration.
Of it. Restoration, there you go. A virtual restoration.
I mean, revitalization probably would work too.
Yeah, and it looks good. I mean, it looks good. Da Vinci knew his shit.
Well, and see, by the way, there is a usage for something like an AI tool to go through and look at all the Da Vinci artwork that's ever existed and basing it on the ones that are in the best shape, and do a virtual digital restoration so people could see what it probably looked like when it was new. Because the reality is a person trying to do it is going to be guessing too. Yeah. So it's no different than if a machine does it. And if you have a beautiful like 8K version of a painting that you will never be able to see in pristine condition, even if somebody restores it. Because I'm sorry to tell everybody, they're kind of guessing too. They can go by what makes the most sense, but they don't know they weren't there. Yeah. So there is a good use of this stuff. Analyze all these paintings that will disintegrate and restore them virtually so that people can enjoy them.
I will tell you, one of the downsides of things like Pixel, like the Google thing, is all that when I've actually heard this in museums. People are so used to seeing paintings on a screen lit up by pixels.
Yeah.
That when they see them in person, they're like, it's just really dark. It's really faded. I thought it would be so much more, alive or something like that.
Well, that's okay.
Yeah.
The timing on this is interesting. I just last night watched a video. There's a person who has this is one of the things I do like about certain creators on YouTube. This one person is, I think, an electrician of some kind, or has electrical engineering knowledge, something. Because I've seen some other videos where this person goes into depth on... actually, the one I like best is where he explained why you have to be very careful what extension cords you buy. And he listed, okay, here's what you want to make sure of. And actually, I looked at some of mine and I'm like, I'm getting rid of that because it explained why it was so cheap. Because you don't think about these things sometimes, and then you wonder why. You find out.
I never buy cheap extension cords. The way I see it is, if you buy cheap, it's cheap for a reason.
Well, I don't mean cheap like $10. I mean cheap like $50.
Oh, okay.
You want to buy expensive wiring if you're doing the depending on what you're doing. You want to be spending north of that. So that's what I'm saying. Cheap means different things. But he did one on Christmas lights, and specifically this individual, and apparently many others, based on the fact that people are selling these new versions of these things now, hates LED Christmas lights. Not because of the energy savings, that's good. Not because they're cool as opposed to hot, that's good. But because they, instead of, and I knew nothing about how Christmas lights were made. I really didn't. But apparently, and this individual showed the old lights versus the new ones to explain it. Old Christmas lights, the incandescents, the ones where they heat up a filament to create light. Those, you can only make an incandescent look one color. It's heat. Therefore, it lights up a certain way. That's it. So they would then paint the glass that went over the incandescent, and that's what created the color. So it's a warmer color by the nature of the generated light. You cannot cool off hot light. You just can't do it. I mean, now you could probably do it with a certain custom paint, but nobody would bother at this point, not on a big scale. So by the very nature of how older Christmas lights, meaning incandescents, were made, the light was a little bit subdued and it was warmer. It was softer. And so that's what a lot of people grew up. And so now because I've picked this up, that LED Christmas lights have a harshness to them. And it's because the actual light is from the diode, not the glass. And so you're getting full bore light, and it's colored in the diode itself. Therefore, the actual plastic is doing nothing. But now there are people who are making LED lights with the subdued natural coloring, and I like them a lot. They're a little bit expensive right now, but probably next year I will be buying and replacing all of our current LEDs, which do look harsh and artificial, with these that look more like what I grew up with. The actual incandescents, but they're LEDs, so they're still cool, and they're still much less of an energy consumer. But it's stuff like that I didn't know anything about how I knew LED Christmas lights look different. But to your point about the idea of saturation, in that same video, he was talking about the fact that a lot of people have this skewed idea of how much light a room needs, because now everybody's growing up with, or younger people, I should say, are growing up where there's a central kind of blanketing light source, and it's LED. So it's very bright, and it's central compared to bulbs like hanging from a ceiling. You know how the old stuff, like my parents' house, they had a lamp that would hang from a chain with a shade on it or something, and the light would come out from the bottom of that. It wasn't just blanketing the whole room in most cases. And so people are used to this saturated light when they probably really don't ever need that much, but because you're trained on it, anything less than that looks dark and dim, even if it isn't.
I'm very affected by light, and I like good lighting, and I have different lighting for different situations. So when I'm doing like work, like where I'm like cleaning or I'm doing crafts, I like a bright, harsh light, right?
Yes.
And I have two options for that. I have an overhead with a Jesus Christ. I was going to call it a windmill. I always do that. I don't know why I always call the ceiling fans windmills. It's so stupid. Anyway, I have these really bright LED bulbs that are very harsh, and I acknowledge that they're harsh, but I only use them when I'm doing kind of work, right? But then if I'm doing something in like my kind of my work desk, I actually have just a light that shines over the desk, right?
Yeah.
But otherwise, like I would say 80% of the time, I have my office is pretty much lit by those nanoleaf color changing light panels, because I have them set to usually to like a sunrise hue of like oranges and yellows and oranges, and all right, oranges, yellows, reds, and it makes my office feel really warm through all these kind of dark months. And every now and then I'll switch them up to bright white light if I need to read or something like that. But yeah, I almost never turn the overheads on unless I'm doing a work. And it's but you know, you were saying growing up, I grew up in a room with track lighting, because it was big in the 80s and my parents put it in. And
okay, were your track lights the yellow kind of 60?
No, they
were
they were black, like studio looking, like with the movable panels.
No, what I mean is were the light bulbs the what they call like the warm white?
I don't know. I changed them. I changed them all the time. I was, like I said, I was hugely involved in light. So, like when I used to go to because my parents worked in construction, there was a lot of Home Depot runs and or you know just in general store. Equipment runs, and I used to buy light bulbs for myself, and I used to hang out in the light bulb drawer, like studying the glow. So, like, I always had a lot of really warm light growing up in my my bedroom. I also had a lot of Christmas lights. Like, I always liked kind of dimmer, sort of rich light. The other thing I used to do, which I acknowledge now is probably weird, is with these track lights I could point them in any direction. There's 4 of them along a beam, and I used to point them straight down. With like with the wings kind of pointed down, so they just made these little cones of light through my bedroom, and then I had just Christmas lights everywhere else. It was very weird. It was very dramatic lighting.
No, what you're talking about, the cones of light, that's what he said is what most people don't understand now, is because there aren't cones of light. There's one central light that blankets the whole room, and so the light is inescapable.
Oh,
and it's actually something that now younger people have gotten used to. So when they're in rooms like you're talking about with specific lighting, that isn't meant to just blanket the room, they think it's too dark, when in fact it's actually probably better for your eyes to have the variation of light as opposed to saturated light. Unless, like you said, I'm the same way. I have a very bright daylight bulb for my drawing desk. And it's very bright and it's very harsh white to give me accuracy on the color. I don't want it tinting anything.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's specific. That's not general use. That's a specific use. That makes sense. And what he's saying is that a lot of lights now are that blanketed light all the time.
Well, they're at that.
So
yeah, they have these. I mean, there's bulbs now at a level of power that we haven't had. Didn't have when I was younger.
Exactly. And in fixtures that are made to blanket everything uniformly, as opposed to cones of light, which you're talking about. Yeah,
I thought it was always cones of light. I mean, every light has basically like a cone of...
Well, they always were, not now. Most rooms have a big center light. I shouldn't say most. A lot of rooms have center lights.
Yeah, I suppose.
That are not coned off.
I didn't mind the center lights. I never felt like a center light was enough of the right kind of light. You know what? I'll put it like this. A central overhead light is for when you spill something. It's for when you've lost something in the sheet or something like that. It's when something has occurred where you really need to see what's going on, right? Like, you know, you're getting changed and you want to make sure your colors match or some shit like that, right? That's what the overhead's for. But then the rest of the time, if you're hanging out in there, you have lamps. You have lamps that put out localized, warm lighting.
And that's what he's saying. It's less common than it used to be to have lamps.
I'll tell you, one of the things I really miss from Vermont was when we had this like huge great room that had a wood burning stove. Now we got rid of it before we moved, very sadly, and we switched to propane, which was never the same. But a wood burning stove put out this light that was just.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's magical. It's like holiday light.
Yeah. I wasn't going to use that word, but that is what it is. It's magical, and like in the middle, like to be, the lights off, like have the lights off and the fireplace going. You got this fire and this kind of rich, almost like shifting, undulating light. It was just, it is the best outside of daylight. It's the best kind of light, I think. But it's not good for cleaning up a spill. You know what I mean? Like it's. Oh
no! Look, there's okay. Yeah, there's always cases where you would need specific. Focused light or focused light type. But what this person was pointing out was that people are getting used to that for everything. And so they react negatively
I've seen
to
that.
anything less than that light, even if it is sufficient light.
Yeah, in new construction, I've seen that. So like we had part of our we had our kitchen and our garage renovated when we got down here because they were all fucked up. And the guy who came in, he put this lighting in that was like a super LED grid. And it was like, whoa! It was like, why do we... Like, it was... I'm used to having like one centralized light and then having like multiple lamps. Whereas like he had like a grid of LEDs across the ceiling. It was crazy. But yeah, it's... I think people don't realize that your environment affects you. It affects your mood. It affects how you are. I mean, I was just reading about how, like, when you have the seasonal depression, one of the things that can really help with that. I mean, first off, the fact that seasonal depression does exist, right? It's like, okay, that says that our environment affects us quite a bit. But also, they've shown that sitting in front of, like, a sun lamp for an hour in the morning can actually really help with that. But that lighting in general, especially when it gets darker, is very important. It does it just have an effect on our mood. The color of the light, how we absorb it. It's profound.
Yeah.
So no, I can't stand environments that only have some kind of septic light. And if you've got a room like that,
most of our rooms have two types of light: a daylight light and a warm white light. Like our bathroom has one of each.
A really easy solution, if you've only got one type of light in the bulb, like if you only got like a white bulb, is to get a bug light. Get a bug light, a yellow bulb, and put it in like a light fixture and just have it on kind of in the room as well, because it'll counter the white light and give you more of a warm light.
Well, the nice part is...
That's a cheap solution.
Yeah, the nice part is there's a lot of good now LED light bulbs where you can actually shift the light temperature very, very...
Oh, yeah.
Very
Plus,
slightly.
You can get LED Edison bulbs now at high voltage, which seems really weird.
Well, and that's what this same person was talking about, was that they've gotten so good at replicating that warm white that's accurate to what it used to be. Because there was a point where they had yellow LEDs, but they never looked right. They always looked very like hospital septic-y.
Yeah. But I've seen those.
And now they've got it where, and that's why they can make those. They figured out how to replicate that old warmth. And now that's why all those Edison bulb types are... Because remember, when LEDs first came out, you didn't see anything like that. They weren't anywhere. Now they're very common because they figured it out.
They were always like 60-watt bulbs, But yeah, I do have a 100-watt, what do you call it, Edison LED bulb, and that thing it puts out a beautiful light.
Oh yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Well, now
Thank you for attending our light talk.
Hey, I think it's important. It's so important.
I agree. That's why. By the way, I should have said that there's the two companies. If you have never heard of this, or the one company. Oh man, crap. I didn't write them down. Hold on a minute. Old style LED Christmas. Because there's two companies that make two different types. So let me see. And the two companies make different. One makes True Tone. True Tone is one, so it's TUR-TONE. They make the big fat old style bulbs, like the big ones that probably your grandparents had if you're our age. Like, I mean the massive Christmas lights, like Christmas vacation style Christmas lights.
Yeah.
And then the other ones, which are the ones I'm planning on getting, are, I think it starts with a V. It's like Vintiglow, maybe? Hold on, let me see if that's right. Is it not? Is it? Oh, I mean, it's Vantiglow. To go back to Vanta. Is it Vantiglow? Hold on, I'm trying to... Vintiglow. It is, Vintiglow. Vintiglow are the other ones who make the smaller string light types. And those are the older style ones. Now, don't bother right now because this is basically a passion project for both of these companies, which is, I think, are 1 or 2 people each. So they're completely blown out now. But if you do it, what I'm going to do is probably in the summer or so. That's when you want to do it. But if people are those, and now I guess Sylvania is making some where they're calling it, like, they call it the vintage glow line. So now we are starting to see more of the bigger companies are understanding that people actually want this stuff. So it is going to probably be more common. But like I said, yeah, there's Vintiglow and True Tone.
If you're a Christmas light person too, I think Christmas lights are so important for this time of year. I think when it gets dark, you have to find a way to light up the night. So
yeah, and I just kind of accepted it was the way it was. But even I have, like, when I would look at the Christmas lights, I really felt like specifically certain colors were really, really over bright. And I didn't know why, but once I saw the explanation, it makes complete sense because it is the diode as opposed to the bulb being colored.
Yeah.
So once you understand that, you're getting the full color power out of it, whereas the old bulbs were coloring it, but they were also cutting down a bit on the light, so they were softening the intensity of it. Once you kind of know how it works, it makes complete sense. But at no point did I intentionally look up. I just came across this video because I'd watched this guy's videos for some of the because I kind of have gotten paranoid about, I mean, I'm always paranoid, but I'd gotten more paranoid about electrical stuff in the last couple of years because I just thought after the Amazon, all the stuff that happened with like their extension cords and their plugs, which is why I won't even touch their shit, which I should have known. It's all garbage. So if you have any of that stuff, get rid of it. It's fucking terrible. And it probably will at some point burn or catch fire. Junk it. Buy stuff that's UL listed from a company you've heard of that's not Amazon. Like GE or anybody but Amazon. Don't keep that shit. Please. Anybody hearing this. It will kill you. Allegedly. So once I started getting into that stuff, that sort of led me down to this, and it just so happened this person has a real hardcore hatred for modern LED light bulbs because they like the softer, older style ones. It's the only reason I know about it. Because again, would I ever have gone, how did they used to make incandescent Christmas lights? Let me look it up. Never. Ever would I have looked that up. But because it was this person, and this is a person who has a very specific kind of speaking style that doesn't annoy me, even though it's very particular. A lot of times, YouTube's speaking voices bug the fuck out of me. I think YouTube filming techniques bug me more, especially the snap zooms for no fucking good reason. But this person does it right. They have a nice locked focus, except when they're showing you something, and they speak clearly, and they don't have to do a bunch of bullshit to try to make their video look better. Anyway, I'm not going to start on that. But like I said, there are companies making them, and it does appear that the bigger companies, because that's the only thing is they're hard to get and they're a little more expensive. Not drastically, they're not terrible, but they're probably twice the cost of a normal string of lights, or maybe 2.5 times. And they're very hard to get because these companies can only make so many because it's small shops, which I want to support because I'm always in favor of the smaller people who are making things out of a passion. You know,
and but the reply is always the fact that it's expensive. Part of the reason environments get lit the way they are is because it's the cheapest way to light it.
And that's why I'm glad that like Sylvania's now and probably others will start making them because that will bring the cost down.
Yeah, and bulbs are expensive, but you can get warm lighting for cheaper. And like, I know that my weird I know my weird obsession with the nanoleaf lights is expensive, but like I fucking love those things. Like, remember in Devs how the room with the lab would like breathe?
Oh yeah.
That's my office. My office breathes.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
So, which
but
is
even
funny
that stuff is a lot cheaper than it was.
Oh yeah, I mean, listen, it exists,
So.
and you can buy it. You know, you can get this stuff at like Best Buy now.
Well,
You
even
know, so
even
it's
remember
great.
like the Philips LED bulbs with multiple colors used to be like $50 a bulb. They
Yeah,
were
yeah,
expensive. Now they're
yeah,
down to like $10 or less.
yeah.
So eventually, this stuff all gets cheaper. I mean,
You
the Leaf
know,
they're they're
we all
a style
we all want to
thing,
live in
but
like really cool movie lit offices.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
it's what was it? We were watching that movie where the guy's office was like some kind of wacko shit. It was the one with Zan, the photography one, the Italian horror movie.
Oh, Obsession, A Taste of Fear.
Yeah, that one guy's office was like,
Oh
whose
yeah, it was a
office
great
looks
office.
like this? But it's the whole thing. It's like
Oh, it's beautiful.
it doesn't have to be practical. It looks good in the movie, and
No, I mean, what's the price on outlining your entire office in what then would have to have been neon?
yeah, I know, neon and water,
Not
right?
cheap.
But it's that idea. It's like, and also you have to be you have to be the type of person who actually wants to do that. There's a really funny thing. My wife and I have this eternal argument about sweatpants, right? And this ties back in. I promise you. It's this idea that my wife thinks that sweatpants are like slobby and they don't look good when you wear them, so you shouldn't wear them unless like you're doing like yard work or just staying home or some shit, right? Whereas I used to think, don't get me wrong, there are some sweatpants that look terrible. But to me, I look at sweatpants and I'm like, but they're fucking pants. Like, as long as they're not like hanging off of you or they're like stained or dirty, they're just pants. And what's funny was I was watching this thing about Vikings, about Viking attire, and they were going through like what Viking clothing was like. And they had these like, these itchy wool pants that were like tied on with like a rope. And I was looking at them like, these look fucking like these look like fucking sweatpants. And I was like, did the Vikings just take over, all this shit just wearing sweatpants? And I thought to myself, that's the funny thing, is that most people don't pay attention. I think you said at one point that in your head, you just have a uniform that you put me in. That you don't even really pay attention fully to like I was variedly wearing at different points. I was like, so I said to my wife, I was like, most people aren't paying attention anyway. That if you show up in pants, as long as they can't see the cuffs, like as long as they can't see the very bottoms of the tops for whatever reason, they have no fucking idea what you're wearing, and they don't care.
No.
Most people don't actually pay attention. So,
Correct.
And that works for lighting and or pants. So if you're the type of person that wants to have that kind of attention to your own detail, then you do. I try to make sure that I wear pants that don't look like they're sweatpants, but are comfy like sweatpants. I think I've said before that I have a pair of leather sweatpants, and those confuse the hell out of my wife because she wants to think they're sweatpants, but they're made of leather. And I really enjoy wearing them because they are such a conundrum to her. But it's the whole, you're not going to remember this anyway. It's like, a month from now, you're going to look back and just remember and think I was wearing leather pants. It's like, you're not going to remember that they were sweatpants.
Nobody's going to care.
Yeah, and will it matter? I mean, you know what?
It will not.
Yeah, if the police show up in sweatpants, are you going to begrudge them the fact, oh, we sloppy police? Anyway, I'm not saying that you should never get dressed up. I'm just saying that there's a lot of times in life where it doesn't matter what you're wearing as long as you're doing
When the
the right
cops show
thing.
up and point a gun at you, are you going to remember the gun a month from now or what pants they
Yeah,
wear?
exactly.
I think you're going to remember the gun.
Yeah. So anyway, it goes. But if you're the type of person that personally matters to, then yes, pay attention to that detail. I know that my wife doesn't. I know that my wife, as long as she doesn't see, like I said, the cuffs or the top, her brain will just slot it as pants. So like I've just made this whole kind of fun. It's a fun game to see if I can like trick her.
Yeah.
Which is amusing to me because there's a lot of cool jeans you can get now that are basically sweatpants. I mean, the way they make the materials, but they look like jeans. So it's like, I'm fine with that. Who gives a shit? I'm of the mind that I want to be able to, squat to the ground whenever I feel like it. So I don't like clothes inhibiting me. But if if the details matter, then, wear the things that you want. And if the lighting matters.
If you're a pendejo.
What's that?
It sounded like you're about to say, because you said if you're a pet and then you stopped. I was like, if you're a pendejo? Is that where you were going with that?
No. Plus, I also wouldn't have said it quite with that perfect accent of yours.
You know
Were
what?
you going to say pendejo?
Were you about to say pendejo?
Yeah. So, if it matters to you, it matters to you. Man, I feel like
senor.
Have we somehow been talking about like nothing for 43 minutes? Is that what this
45 minutes.
Jesus Christ. What happened?
How
do we lose this time?
And I had this thought earlier. You remember when I said the thing to you? I texted you and I said, I think we're going to cap it at 3 movies per show.
Yeah.
I had a thought earlier to him. I'm like, man, I hope that our shows aren't just us talking about movies the whole time, because I enjoy talking about movies, but then we're just being a movie podcast. But nope, 45 minutes in, we've talked about... what was the question we were going to start with?
We were going to talk about...
sleep with a woman. Yeah.
If you kill a woman... Is necrophilia cheating, is basically what we were talking about.
Well, okay, well, let's phrase the question the way that
we were
ask the question that
joking.
I said, let's save it for the show.
Hold on. We were joking around and saying, we're joking around and being like, oh, no, I swear I didn't kill her, and then it was, oh, I swear I didn't kill her and I didn't have sex with her. And then it was, oh, no, I swear I didn't kill her, but I definitely didn't have sex with her afterwards. And then the question popped up, is it worse to have killed somebody and had sex with them afterwards or beforehand? And which would be considered cheating?
Yes.
And I said, honestly, it doesn't matter in the end, because, this is that whole, for me, a dead body to a certain period is still considered to be kind of, alive-ish. So, like, it's still cheating whether you do it before or after, outside of being a horrific act.
And
but you had a different answer.
It's worse after.
Okay.
Because not only is it, as you said, the cheating element, but then the second question that pops up is, well, wait a minute. So was the whole time that we were having sex, he imagined me dead or wished I was, because that would be better?
Oh, God. This was like that whale thing. The whale thing. The horse thing, where the person said, I would always worry they were thinking of the horse.
Correct. Yes.
I mean, that's...
So to me, after is if somebody were to tell me, I would prefer alive, because then at least I had a fighting chance to be on the same level.
If you're having the first time you're having sex with somebody and they lean in and they're like, just lay real still and don't breathe.
I wish you were dead. I mean,
it's a red flag. No, it'll still be obvious.
Yes.
It can't be that obvious.
Yeah, or they make you go into an ice bath for an hour beforehand. And like, I just want your skin to be really cold. Oh no.
You know what though?
No.
Listen. I don't know. If you caught me at the wrong time in college, I might have done that. What I got to do is sit in the ice bath and then sex is on? Yeah, sure.
No. If somebody told you they needed you to go into an ice bath,
I know.
That's a different thing than what you're talking about.
Yeah. Plus, I don't know if I could even find myself sexually aroused that quickly after an ice bath. I mean, ice bath is
I could. No, I could.
Have you been in an ice bath recently?
No, but I take very cold showers.
Okay. I do use an ice bath for muscles and stuff like that. And I can tell you that when I'm in an ice bath, it is the least horny I can possibly be.
Okay, yes, I agree. In the ice bath,
but when you get out, it still perpetuates cold for a while. You know what? Listen, I am not privy to your Herculean efforts of.
I'm not saying it's Herculean
back.
effort, but in the correct scenarios, there is not much ohm resistance for me to go from nothing to 60.
Man, I could be in a room full of nude Amazons, and if you drop me in a cold bath, it's going to take me a little bit. My body goes into shock.
I'm not going to say that I literally fall out of the bath, hit the floor, and say, let's go now. But I would safely guesstimate it will be less than 5 minutes.
This is an odd race to have, isn't it? Okay, so we're going to drop the both of you here in an ice bath, and then we're going to see which one of you can pleasure this room of Amazons.
Well, yeah, okay.
Are they alive or dead? Yeah, all right. So
are they alive or dead? There's the show title, but it isn't. Yeah.
So yes, it's worse. Yes.
For me,
it's also worse.
It's
also worse because you could also make the argument that you never got allowance. It's definitely rape.
Sure.
It's definitely rape if they're dead.
I agree. There's definitely no consent, especially if you killed them. That's double no consent, unless they said you could go ahead unless you have a written document or a video, really, of. Yeah, and honestly, in the age of AI, would you even believe that? No. that you're going to jail. And you're going to jail for a long time, and you better hope that none of the relatives catch you on the way to prison. It's not happening.
But I have a
You're not
letter.
going to convince anybody of that shit.
I have a documented video of them saying I could do it. That's definitely not deepfaked.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. Is at one time that would have been a shocking discovery for the survivors, but
anything really confirm anything anymore?
No, it doesn't.
Is this the peak moment of postmodernism achieved?
Yeah, I think it is.
You know,
we're there.
I was looking for art recently, and I was looking at Transmet art for Transmetropolitan because Frank Whiteley did a lot of that. He did some really good posters for them. And I found this article that basically said, I don't think Transmetropolitan aged very well because the fact that everything is as crazy as it is now, basically, if you read Transmet today, it comes off a little bit quaint. But the responses to that were interesting because people said, hey, the idea is that the world got weirder than Transmet. But that doesn't mean that the ideas of Transmetropolitan are any weaker. It means that the world has gotten even more fucked up. Because if you remember, what finally takes the Smiler down is that he has one of his own people executed, right? And it comes out that he had this woman who had a lot of very positive regard in his campaign executed, and that's kind of the thing that takes him down. Whereas today, if a said politician was discovered to have staged the assassination of one of his own, political employees for the sake of gain, I don't even think it would register. I think that there'd be a lot of yelling about it, and then nothing would actually happen. I think that we are at that sort of postmodern. We've gone over the event horizon.
I completely agree. I
don't know if anything matters anymore.
No, I mean, we're in the U.S. We already have I mean, they essentially did kill people who survived an initial strike on a boat, and they've hand waved that away. So whatever.
Well, yeah, there was something along the lines of we weren't targeting them. We were targeting the boat.
Well, I mean,
but you know what?
It doesn't matter.
But they've been doing that. Listen, they've been doing that for a long time because in the Middle East,
I know
that they were using 50 cals on people and basically saying, I was aiming for the vest. The vest is military equipment. Yeah.
But the difference is that they at least pretended then. Now they're not even pretending. So, no, it doesn't matter. It's all over. It's all over. It doesn't matter. Nothing is illegal, and anything goes.
Well, if you have enough money, nothing's illegal, yeah. But I think it's been like that for a long time.
I'm talking about at the administration level. If you're a president now, you can do whatever you want. The Supreme Court has reiterated you can do whatever you want.
Seems to be the,
Yeah.
Well, we've reached the bottom, finally. What did that take us, 51 minutes?
50? Is that all? Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
That's why, you know what? That's why we talk about movies. Because if we go into the spiral, inevitably we end up in the same place. We always end up with the apocalypse.
That's true. Yeah,
it always ends up with the end of the world.
I agree.
So we try to divert that party by going elsewhere.
Indeed.
Thanks for killing my mom. Yeah, no problem.
See, white girls bore me.
You can eat shit and die, Colonel.
Just give me the essence of the thing, the juice, you know.
You choose to live. To carry that weight. Bitter and brief. You have chosen the lament configuration.
That is way more fitting of a movie quote for what we were just talking about than I understood when I captured it.
We have chosen the lament configuration.
Yes, we really have.
You know what order do you want to do this in? Because we've just got the three.
We'll do that one last. Now, let's start with Super Cop because that's the one I'm most mid-tempo on. Mid-temperature, I should say, not mid-tempo. So we'll start with Super Cop, a.k.a. Police Story 3, even though it really has nothing to do with the first two.
Whatever. You know what? Listen, this is super easy. If you like, this is a typical Jackie Chan movie. Like not American. Not his one of it. This is a typical early Actually, I'd say this is mid, because his early ones were much more like Drunken Master. So this is like...
Correct.
This is like mid Jackie Chan career before he broke into the States.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I will say, unlike me, there are a lot of people who adore this movie. I think it's the best one he ever made. So it's, you may love it. No, I think Jackie Chan's done such a range of films.
Yeah.
That for a lot of people, and that's what I actually think is great about Jackie Chan, is he's done kind of all of it. So you could probably find any flavor of a movie, and he's done.
Well, I mean, he has
I
tried to do more stuff after he came to the States, because I mean, he did what was that one where he was like, yeah, but I think when you think Jackie Chan, you think, charming, bumbling martial artist, good guy. Like that's the air that he has, and in every movie he plays kind of an angle on that, because it's the way we like our Jackie Chan. We don't want Jackie Chan to be dark and edgy. I don't know if he ever did a movie where he was dark and edgy. I think he did that movie where, like I said, where he was a terrorist with Pierce Brosnan.
Yeah, I think he's done one movie where he's the bad guy, or maybe two.
Yeah, but it's like that's not my brain of Jackie Chan. And the thing is that I like, because I like that kind of Jackie Chan brand, then I like most of his movies. When he shows up, it's like you generally know what kind of movie you're going to get. You generally know what kind of character he's going to play. And you know there's going to be some fun, martial arts stunts. And that's what he did with this movie. The biggest problem with Super Cop 3, whatever, no, it's just called Super Cop. Yeah, Police Story 3.
Well, it is called Police Story 3, but you normally see Super Cop, but they attach that to it.
The biggest problem with Super Cop, I have discovered, is that the actress who plays his girlfriend in this is the actress who plays the shotgun girl from, was it the Heroic 3?
The Heroic Trio, yeah.
The Heroic Trio. And she's so good in that. And she's so wasted in this. She has good comic timing, don't get me wrong. But by comparison to what she does in another movie, it's a really, she is kind of wasted. But that's her role, you know what I mean? This movie is the Michelle Yeoh and Jackie Chan show. And the two of them are great. They're great together. I love that there's no romantic relationship between them, that it is very much a sort of sibling partner relationship. And they have a really good dynamic. And you said at one point that because you had watched so many other action movies, that this movie felt a little bit light on action. But I think really what it is because this movie is kind of, the Jackie Chan brand is action comedy. There's fighting, there's chases, and there's going to be amazing stunts, and it's going to be funny. And I think that there's too much funny for your particular,
the ratio's
taste.
off. Because I mean, a lot of the movies, like when we watch Yes, Madam, that is buffoonery, and then there's a major, super action sequence, and then buffoonery, and it goes back and forth to the point where it would alienate some people because it's too much of a back and forth with no transition.
Yeah.
Whereas Jackie Chan has less of that transition. It's action scene, funny for a very long time, leading up to big action scene. Yeah. And so you kind of know when it's going to happen. It doesn't catch you by surprise.
Yeah.
Whereas I've now watched enough of these movies where the surprise part doesn't bother me anymore. I've become desensitized to it. So I've kind of ruined myself for anything that doesn't maintain. I've kind of become the crank of. I mean,
listen.
And I mean the movie crank. I'm crank for action movies now.
When they get to that camp and they just start using grenade launchers and everything, that shit's hilarious.
Oh, that's great. Yeah.
And that's this is a good, for me, this is a good movie. It is a good roundabout movie. It's a good entrance movie for someone who wants to bring someone into like Jackie Chan movies. If you want them to see more of his non-American work. But I think, for me, this is probably one of the more enjoyable non-American movies that he made. He's very funny. He's still very cool. He's physically he's physically doing great. He hasn't completely broken himself yet. Otherwise, the other major problem with this movie is that they managed to find an outfit that looks horrible on Michelle Yeoh.
Yeah, it's impressive how bad it looks.
Yeah, it's distractingly bad. When she pops up, she pops up next to a pool, and she's in this like short sleeve shorts like onesie thing, and like and
it almost looks like they've put inflatable balloons inside the hips because
it just looks so
off.
Yeah, it looks terrible on her. And like I don't often stop and say that's a really bad outfit, but I did. I mean, even when we were watching the commentary, I said to you, I was like, that is a horrid outfit.
No. We both were kind of the most surprising thing the movie did was put her in that outfit.
Yeah, but otherwise, everybody's good. I mean, sometimes when a movie is really good, there's not a lot to say because it's good. Like Jackie Chan is good. This is a good era of Jackie Chan. There's no surprises here. There's comedy, there's action, there's chases. You're going to find out after the fact that there are a few stunts that nearly killed them. There's no computer graphics. There's no cheating. Like people physically did these things. Doesn't he get hit by the chopper at one point?
He gets hit by the chopper. Michelle Yeoh falls off into traffic, which luckily did not hit her because she could have been killed. She misses a couple of her motorcycle jumps. That's one thing I've always liked about Jackie Chan films, and one thing I will say this movie still has, is where they show you so that you can be like, no, this wasn't done with a stuntman. This was done with the people in the goddamn movie. And has always been something that I think is impressive. It commands a lot of respect because you can see that what the movie captures was gotten through a lot of pain and trial and error, which could have killed somebody. So that, I think, his movies and his showing that, which I think I almost every movie I can think of I've seen of his has that at the end, especially the more modern ones. That I think he was way ahead of the curve on, because it would be impressive now, even more so, to show people who are used to CG everything. And again, something like Mission Impossible, where
Tom Cruise does his stunts. Yeah.
But even when you see how much safety stuff is there and how much he's protected even from the dangerous stuff.
But this is the thing I was going to say to you. There is an argument to be said, but if we have the technology to not put people in harm's way, shouldn't we use it?
No. I am never going to argue that any type of art is worth a person's life.
But the thing is, Tom Cruise is a great example because this is somebody who wants to do a lot of his own stunts, but he also wants to make it as safe as possible.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he does a lot of wacky shit. And, I think one of you saw the footage of him like breaking his ankle when he was doing the one Mission Impossible. Yes. He tried to jump across the rooftops. Yeah. Shit still happens. And the problem is he busted his ankle and filming came to a halt. And that's the downside. Is if Jackie Chan actually which he has been hurt a few times.
He's filmed that's why in Rumble in the Bronx, they put a sock over his broken foot, and he still did the stunts. They put a sneaker sock over his foot. Now, again, I'm not advocating to go back to that. That's not what I mean when I say,
But it's impressive when you see it.
Yes, it's something where you sit there and go, holy shit, they used to do this stuff when they didn't have CG to make the most dangerous stuff safer. Yeah. I'm not saying that's good. I would 100% want a CG person to be put in harm's way because they're nothing compared to a real person flying off a building.
But stunt guys like to do fucked up shit. I'll give you that as well.
I was going to say that stunt people they thrive on that risk, and that's fine too if that's what your thing is.
The choreography is very good. I like the fact that Michelle Yeoh comes off in this movie like she could kick his ass.
Well, I mean, that's the thing that is when I was younger, Michelle Yeoh to me was a dramatic actor. I'd only seen her mostly, except for Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
Really? Okay.
Oh, yeah, because don't forget, I didn't watch a lot of this stuff when I was younger. So the stuff I was seeing was the more mainstream martial arts stuff.
I did not.
I watched horror movies a lot when I was younger.
Yeah, that's right. So I watched a lot of martial arts movies when I was a kid. So I knew Michelle Yeoh. In fact, that was the thing. When we were watching this movie, I realized I had seen parts of this movie. And I think I actually did see this movie maybe many years ago, and I just didn't remember all of it, but I had seen parts of it more recently. But yeah, I have seen Michelle Yeoh. I'd seen her in martial arts movies before I saw her in any American movies. So for me, it was kind of like she's a really great martial artist and she can act.
No, I was all in on horror movies. So horror movies are what I've seen. Yeah. I was watching a lot of that when I was younger because I kind of understood that was the stuff that was sort of more forbidden. My parents wouldn't have objected on walking in a martial arts film, but if they walked in and saw somebody having their head chainsawed off, they might have had a problem. So it was more of a sneaky thing to do. Plus, I kind of dug it. So I saw a lot of horror stuff. Not so much. I saw the big martial arts stuff that everybody saw. Karate Kid, that was martial arts to me. Not this stuff.
Yeah, and the joke of it is that
that
you love Karate Kid, but then you see some of these movies, and it's like,
oh yeah,
okay, well, Karate Kid's cool and all, but what about, yeah.
Now,
Plus,
and this is what I'm saying is,
listen, if you watch Bruce Lee movies,
Yes, Madam has ruined everything for me because it's so good.
Bruce Lee ruined a lot of this stuff for me when I was a kid. Because I remember I saw Bruce Lee early on, and that guy was just so magnificent in his movies that you're always like...
I saw that stuff too, but I think I was more... When I was younger, I think the dubbing threw me off a lot.
Why?
Voice dubbing.
Because you're not bilingual.
Well,
I think if you grow up...
pardon moi, pendejo.
Yeah,
I think I'm very multilingual.
I think that if you grow up in a bilingual house, I think that watching foreign movies comes more easily to you. Because
well, I was bilingual when I was younger because my grandparents only spoke Italian, and I spoke much better Italian as a young child than I do now.
Yeah, I know,
So
but
it's
when
not
did
that.
But when did that fade off? Is what I'm saying. Like you weren't still speaking Italian
Probably
like you're
12
teens.
or 13.
Did it really? Did it last that long? No shit. I thought it was much younger.
No, okay. Because my grandmother lived till about then, and she never really spoke English. Never.
Okay.
But
I
again,
thought you were much
the
younger.
difference too is I was also into horror, so I wasn't watching a lot of dubbed stuff. I was watching Chopping Mall and that kind of shit. Which,
it's funny that you didn't get into
ADR.
I guess you wouldn't have had the access, but it's funny that you didn't get into like the Italian horror movies.
No, there was none of that. That's what I'm saying. Is nobody that stuff you would have to get it at the video store.
And they had to give it to you, yeah.
Well, and the reality is when I was 14, 15, I don't know that I would have really liked Suspiria.
Yeah.
I liked Chopping Mall because it was dumb, blow up, stupid, boobs, fun. So that shit appealed to me as a 15-year-old. Suspiria, if I'd watched that at 15, I probably would have thought the colors were neat, but I don't know that I would appreciate it the way I do now. Because, it doesn't function as a standard horror film. I'd be like, why is nobody dying? Where are the Jason Voorhees style kills in this thing?
What was it? We watched so we're shifting into like, our movies with the kids, and we watched Violent Night because we're doing Christmas movies.
Sure.
David Harbour. Have you seen Violent Night?
No, I haven't. I don't
it's
have
silly fun.
I probably will at some point.
It's silly fun. That's all. It's silly fun.
Yeah.
But the thing is that my wife was like, "Oh, it's this is kind of like their first like there's a it's not a horror movie, but the it can get a bit gory because he's fighting off thieves, like a gang of thieves."
Sure.
And there is a sequence where, outside of the fact that halfway through the movie, there is literally a sequence lifted from Home Alone 2, or from Home Alone, because the little girl who says early on in the movie that she just watched Home Alone, and when she's trying to hide out from the thieves, she basically does the Home Alone shit of the steps going up to the attic, and then like takes it up a notch, where she has like a trampoline with bowling balls. It turns into an absurd kids movie, right?
Sure.
But there's a sequence early on where Santa Claus is fighting one of these these guys, these like ex-military guys, and they have this physical brawl. And finally, like he's like choking Santa Claus, and Santa Claus grabs the plastic star off the side of of a Christmas tree that he's just knocked over, and he stabs the guy in the eye, right? And we're sitting there. And I look over at my son, and my son goes, "Plug it in." And what does Santa Claus do in the movie? He reaches over and he plugs it into the wall. And the guy suddenly gets like electrocuted, his head catches fire. And I looked over at my wife, and I was like, there you go. I was like, this movie was written by 14-year-olds for 14-year-olds.
For 14-year-olds, sure.
It's that kind of thing where it's like, my son, not only did my son predict what was going to happen, he told the movie what he wanted to have happen.
And the movie agreed it was
and
the
the
best
movie
decision.
Agreed. Yeah, exactly. So
Yeah.
that's why for me, Violent Night has become a heartwarming. It will now become the heartwarming family Christmas movie we watch every year.
Yeah, that's good. It's good to have something like that.
because it's it's so cheesy, and yet it's still a Christmas movie. I mean, there's still a warm-hearted Christmas cheer to it, despite all the blood and the sledgehammers. Mm-hmm. So anyway, Super Cop, really good.
Yeah, it's a fun movie.
Yeah, I can't speak badly about it. Everyone in it is good.
No.
And
Yeah.
I mean, Joe said
I don't have anything bad to say about it.
the balance of action to comedy is not. If you're looking for like a hard action movie, no, the balance is going to be off for you. But if you want an action comedy,
I think for people who find stuff like I talk about with that hard whipsaw thing going on, Jackie Chan is going to be the more palatable version. And I'm not saying that as a bad thing. I'm saying that there is more of a transition. The movie's using kind of classic Western action archetypes to signal to you, okay, this is the action scene that's going to be coming up. Until then, here's some hijinks. But understand that once they get to this point, there will be an action scene. Whereas stuff like I like now is like, oh, wow, that's funny. You spilled milk in your lap. Holy shit, grenade! And it just blows up. And like there's no transition point.
I actually think that Super Cop has a lot of connective DNA with the Detective Wears Skirts.
Oh, yes, definitely.
Yeah. I think Detective Wears Skirts finds a way to take the hilarity into the actual action sequences, because when they're kicking
Top Squad is in its own thing. That fucking roller rink is still like I don't know what I could even compare that to. So whatever, I don't even care about anything else in that movie.
But
if
you like Top Squad, then yes, Super Cop is in the same kind of general DNA.
But I'll tell you right now, if I was going to tell somebody to watch those two movies, watch Super Cop first, then watch Inspector Wears Skirts.
Yeah. Oh, I think Super Cop will prime you for Top Squad.
That's
That's the order. Yeah, that's the order to watch them in. Yeah, absolutely.
But that is now one of those movies that I have in a file for when somebody says, "Well, tell me a movie that has something I know I've never seen before." Okay, have you ever seen a roller rink fight? No. Watch Top Squad. That's it. You're done. Get out of here. And then just wait for the response of, holy shit, what was that? Yes, correct. What was that?
Yeah, I mean, but honestly, it's because the end fight is also so good. Like that's what's so funny is that you get that early good fight, then you come to like the characters, and you have that great roller rink fight, and then they beat up the boyfriend, and then you have that great fight at the end where they're all kicking the shit out of the Six String Samurai.
You know what?
It's great.
Okay, this is funny. I didn't think about this either, but this is another good comparison point for that movie to emphasize what you're saying. The Maggie Chung character of Amy is what's missing from Super Cop.
Yes. Oh,
and
I think
have Amy.
And that's what I think they wanted his girlfriend to be.
Yes.
But she just didn't have.
Not there.
She wasn't written that way. It didn't have that timing. But that's kind of what they wanted.
Somehow they'd made her more prominent and made her like an accidental action piece.
Yeah.
That would have improved it. So again, I agree with you. I'm not saying this is a bad movie, but maybe because we just watched Top Squad, it's sort of some of the stuff we've watched is kind of.
The problem is that
the colors of this one for me. We
are suffuse in this now. I mean, you have been drenched in this for a long time. You have now drenched me as well. So now we're deep in it. So now you see things.
We are deep in it.
Yeah, so you see things and you're like, well, it's not that bad. But like, if I had seen this, if I had come out of nowhere and watched Top Squad, I'd probably be like, what the fuck is going on here? But I'm neck deep in this now, so it's.
There's almost. I've thought that maybe what I should start doing is making a list of all these movies in the order I think people who've never seen them should watch them in, so that you have this kind of ramp up.
Oh, like
having your mind explode out of the back. Yeah. Curating it.
Yeah.
So that you're kind of starting out, getting used to the formulas, and then really building up to the insanity, which...
I really think we should watch, was it Brainstorm, and then, was it Brainstorm and Dreamscape? I think we should watch both of those.
Sure. Yeah, that's
those are was it early Christopher Walken and early Dennis Quaid movies? I think a lot of people
I have no problem with that.
Have forgotten. I just don't know where the hell to find them.
Yeah. Oh, I'll find them.
But yeah, I think we should watch those as like a double and compare and contrast.
Sure. Yeah,
I just don't know what you compare and contrast those with. If you want to do 3 movies, what's the third movie in that movement?
Okay. Well, our next movie is...
Oh, you picked one, yeah.
I have one in mind. I've told 2 people what it is.
And I'm not one of them.
One was my wife. No, you're not going to be one of them. And it is either going to be one of... It won't be... Okay. I know for a fact it won't be worse than after last season. So I know that for a fact. But it might be close because of what it is.
Interesting.
Oh, I don't want to reveal any more.
Hey, listen. Hey, listen. Even the failures are interesting.
Well, this one in particular might be a real examination piece. But my wife thought the idea of watching this was hilarious. And I told one other person whose reaction was what and a bunch of question marks and exclamation points.
Okay.
So,
well, we
that
have
will be the next one, and
analysis.
And maybe
for the rest
we will
of the
need brainstorm. We might need those two after it, but we'll see. It's a roll of the dice. I know that, but there is a wild card factor to it. I'm not even going to let you know the name of it when we watch it. We're just going to start watching it, and you cannot look anything up about it because I want to know if the X factor is going to really throw you for a loop. So that's as much as I'm going to say. Stay tuned, everybody. And that one, unless that one goes horrifically wrong.
Remember, even the wrong ones.
No. I mean, this is a rare case where I'm going to give you the option to break the glass on the emergency thing and say we're not watching any more of this.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yes. So if you say I don't want to watch any more of this, then we'll stop.
All right.
And just to clear it for everybody, it's not because there's anything that's objectionable. It's not rape
it's a theory
gore.
thing. It's a theory thing, isn't it?
It could be titanically boring. It could be.
Oh.
And if it is, and you're really struggling with it, and you say, you know what, man, I can't do this, then we'll jump out because I have a short film as a backup ready to go.
One movie I've ever shut off, right? Actually, you know what? That's not true because I didn't even watch it. The only movie I've ever actually walked away from was the one movie that Vince Vaughn did with James Franco or something like that, where it was like some kind of like down on this like businessman movie. My wife and I watched it for like 10 minutes, and we were so bored and like just irritated with the characters. We're like, why are we wasting our time with this?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's
yikes.
It just wasn't. It was sold as kind of like a fun, like loose cannons comedy, and it was just kind of sad. You know, and
the irony is the movie I most recently shut off. Right? You remember what that was?
Which was that?
Superman.
Oh yeah, you did.
Remember?
Which is so weird to me. I still think that's weird because I actually do love it. I think it's a really good. I think it's a really fun movie. I think it's a really great way to.
As I said before, I'm not saying that it's bad. I'm saying I couldn't hang with it. That's all.
You know what? It might grow. It might grow on you.
I'm not going to rule out that I might watch it sometime from now. I might actually be more willing to watch the next Superman than this. one.
Once they've got everything's kind of set up.
Yeah.
You saw that Scarlett Johansson's signing on to the Batman, right?
I did. I'm curious who she's going to be. Is she going to be Poison Ivy?
There are rumors that they want to do Mask of the Phantasm.
Oh, that would be really good.
Yeah, right? See?
She would work really well for that.
Yeah. I saw that and I was like, ooh, I want to see that. I want to see Matt Reeves do Mask of the Phantasm. I was like, and if, for those who don't know, Mask of the Phantasm was the only movie that the animated Batman did. I think it was in theaters, wasn't it? Yeah, I saw it in theaters.
No, I don't know if
it's for the
comics. Not go to theaters?
Which one? No. I meant the original animated Batman series had one movie that they made.
I thought the Mr. Freeze one was from the original too. That wasn't that one. Heart of Ice wasn't.
I think that was already when they started doing other series like Brave and the Bold and things like that.
Well, I remember Mask of the Phantasm is the one everybody says is the best one, and it's great.
It is.
Heart of Ice or the Mr. Freeze. It's not Heart of Ice. That's the actual episode. The Mr. Freeze movie is very good too, but Mask of the Phantasm feels like it is made could be live action, and you just replace the animation with live action. It works perfect.
And what it is it's a story that there's another vigilante in town that's killing people.
Well, it's what if Batman killed people?
Yes.
That's all.
And then the spoiler is that it's the girl from his past that he was like in love with.
Yeah.
Who had something similar happen to her and went down a different path. And it's this kind of this reflection. It's a reflection of Batman, and he's trying to save her, but he's also trying to stop her. So it's really complicated.
Okay, so Sub-Zero is before the new series started out. So that's considered the second one based on the animated one.
Okay.
That is before they started up the new Batman Adventures.
No, I think.
But I would still say that is still. I like Mr. Freeze a lot, so I like that movie a lot. But I would still say Mask of the Phantasm is the best one.
Of Scarlett Johansson. I mean, Scarlett Johansson basically joins movies to bring money, right? So she looked at this project. I mean, that's basically what she is at this point. She looks at the movie and she goes, "If I join it, it'll get made," and I'm fine with that because she got Ghost in the Shell made. Like, and I have no issues saying I like the look of her.
No,
so
she's a very, very capable action star.
Yeah, she does action really well.
She would have. I think that's a really great. If that is in fact what they're doing, that's great casting. And man, that's to follow up the first Batman with that. At that point, if I'm Matt Reeves, I'm like, you know what? I've done 2 bangers in a row. I'm getting out. Done.
When I read that, it hit me, and I was like, "Oh my god, I so want to see that. I want to see Matt Reeves."
That's a really good idea if that's true, because I think I would make any argument that that's the best version of the Riddler in the first Batman movie, as far as if you want the Riddler.
Yeah, and I think,
as a
but
serious
the Joker,
villain, and then Phantasm.
It's the Joker that gets involved in that one, right? Because doesn't the Joker get between them?
Oh yeah, because what do you call it? They can't possibly not have the. At that point, you had to have the Joker in everything.
I know, but what I'm saying is, I wonder. I don't think you need to use the Joker for it to work. I think it could be. I could be Two-Face. You know.
Well,
but I don't know if Matt Reeves could handle. I don't know how you do Two-Face in the Matt Reeves universe, and not have it irritate you.
Okay, so I firmly believe that you can do Two-Face looking like he does from the animated series and have it serious. It does not have to be a cartoon for someone to have a stylish disfigurement. It can be done, because obviously they wouldn't make him bright teal skinned. Yes, that might be it, but you could do dark purple burn skin and have the same basic look. The only thing they would have to change, honestly, is he couldn't have the big left eye. His left eye would have to be discolored but normal.
Yeah, but there's something you could discolor it. What you could do is you could scar his face. Yeah. You know what? Freddy Krueger half his face and make one of his eyes red.
That's what I'm saying. It's people act like the animated one is such a wild. I'm like, no, except for the brightness of the color. There's nothing there you couldn't do in a movie.
You know what? I just saw something really funny online. Somebody said that was it Javier Bardem when he did which James Bond movie it was?
Oh, Skyfall, when his face melts.
Skyfall, yeah. When he takes the thing off the side of his face and his face gets all cut. They said that would be a perfectly adequate Two-Face.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. People act. I've heard people say, "Well, you could never do the animated one; it's too cartoony."
Well, it's the personality.
What are you talking about?
It's the personality that you really want to get right.
And that's where the animated series
wait a minute.
Again, it's not like he's.
Hold on.
Did somebody do a Photoshop of it?
No, Matt Reeves, the Batman Part 2 is casting Harvey Dent.
Ooh. See? I have no issues with that because I absolutely do not have.
If they do Mask of the Phantasm with and it works too because it's the whole Two-Face thing where it's like the two sides. Perfect.
Yeah. Yeah.
Man.
Well, okay, but my bet is honestly it's probably not going to be Two-Face. They're probably putting Harvey Dent in the second one to set up a third one where it's Two-Face. I think my hunch would be that much like they were doing with the first Batman.
If this is what makes him into see, if you're smart, you don't make Harvey Dent good and bad in one movie. The best thing is to make him good in one movie, make him really good, and then have him be the bad of the next movie.
Well, and in it's been a while since I've seen Mask of the Phantasm, but from what I remember, the Joker the Phantasm goes to kill somebody that the Joker has already killed. She finds out.
Yeah.
So you can make it where the Joker blew up Harvey Dent for some or whatever. You can have it where the Joker or where somebody, Joker or not, kills that, and in a blast Harvey Dent's caught in it, and then that sets up the next movie where at the end you find out he's disfigured. Because that's again they did that. That was what the Tim Burton, the first Batman. Yeah. That's Harvey Dent because they were setting it up to be Two-Face.
Yeah, and you know what's terrible? I just realized I watched the Batman the other day. I broke it up into pieces and I watched it over like 2 or 3 days in sections during the day when I had time. And I was like, that's the first time that I liked that movie enough that I was like, you know what? I'm going to rewatch that. I'm going to find time to rewatch that. And you know what? Still fucking good. So I love the idea. Man, I really hope they do it. Mask of the Phantasm with Two-Face.
Yeah, and another reason I actually kind of hope they wouldn't do Two-Face in that. I don't mind Harvey Dent as a setup, but focus on the Phantasm. That's enough of a story.
Well, because she was going after organized crime, too. The Joker got involved later on, but you could have it be about organized crime.
If you have Harvey Dent at the scene of something where she like blows something up to kill somebody and he gets caught, okay,
that's the way.
fine.
That's the way to do it. Yeah.
Yeah, don't do the fucking Dark Knight shit. I don't want competing villains, especially with Two-Face. Two-Face is too much of a good character.
They did that for the longest time, where they, but you know what? But people will say that technically the Batman did have two villains because Penguin was there, and the Riddler was there.
Right, but the Penguin is the business Penguin. He's not
He's also
launching penguins after.
But you have to admit, one of the best action sequences in the movie is with the Penguin.
Well, sure, but that car chase could have been anybody. He wasn't driving a Penguin mobile. He was driving a car.
True. That's true.
Yeah. I'm not saying you can't have multiple main characters. What I'm saying is I have always had a problem and still have a problem with the idea that the Dark Knight did Joker and Two-Face, because you fucked Two-Face right out of that movie. Joker was so much better as a character, and frankly, Heath Ledger, there's a whole reason people talk about that. So you just diminish Two-Face, and I just don't like his arc. It's just too sudden.
Yeah, I know.
There wasn't enough setup with him and Bruce. That's what you set up in the second movie, is him and Bruce, tight. As or Harvey Dent and Batman, understanding this is how you take care of things, and you build a relationship.
You form them up as a team where it's Harvey Dent and Gordon and Batman, and they're running things, and then to have one of them get taken away at the end and become the problem, because then you've got somebody who knows how they work, taking them apart from the inside.
Yes,
yeah,
and that's why I think you use the second movie to establish him, and you can even blow him up at the end. He's like collateral damage, and you realize we as the audience will know where that's going. But you don't have to make him Two-Face in that movie and have him a villain. You set him up so that we understand what he's going to be.
I hope that Matt Reeves can handle the delicate nature of it. I mean, I do think that the Batman is an incredible Batman movie. So I hope he can pull it off. I want him to pull it off. And Scarlett Johansson, if she is the Phantasm, is a great pick.
They kind of laid the groundwork in the first one. Because he is vengeance until he's not. Well, she just keeps being vengeance. And that's where you end up. So it's really, really a natural follow-up. I would never have thought of that. But, I shouldn't say never, but it would have taken me a while. But that is a really smart place to take what all the first movie set up. Because the first movie, basically, the Riddler thinks he's his partner, but he isn't. In the second one, the Phantasm just goes, yeah, you didn't do enough. I'm going to finish these problems. You temporarily sideline them. I will make sure they don't come back. It would make a ton of sense to me.
Well, I'm sorry. I totally derailed us because we were actually not even talking about Batman movies.
No, but that's fine. No, we were talking about that's how did we get to that? Jeez, I don't remember how we even got to that.
Was it the fact that Super Cop used music? No, it wasn't that, but they do. Super Cop uses music from Batman in the final sequence.
Oh, well, there is that, which I forgot about, but you're right.
That is one really great detail. He's hooked to a helicopter ladder, and you start hearing apparently actual lifted music. I mean, it sounded just like Batman. It really did.
We've heard that before, though, remember? We've heard movies ripping off. Aliens was the last one where we distinctly heard aliens.
That's so. It's very
that's
funny.
aliens. It is quite hilarious once you hear it, because I think there's one point where it plays, but it's subtle and there's other stuff going on.
Yeah,
like, it's like I didn't hear that right.
It's the music with the Joker toward the end. Like they
dun 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 dun. Yeah, it's that. It's very hard to miss it later on. So.
But no, I have no idea how we got to the other thing. So. But that's okay
I
because
don't
we can just keep on rocking, man.
Yep.
What do we watch next?
After that, I wanted to watch A Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Freddy's Revenge, which I don't even know why they call it Freddy's Revenge.
Honestly, it should just be called. It should be called Fred Krueger.
Well, okay. There's two things. One,
yes.
Revenge on this kid for what? That's number one. But also, nobody calls him Freddy.
World. Yeah. No, they never do. Everyone calls him Fred.
No, which I
yeah,
to the movie's
I
credit.
want to say up front, I was not expecting much from this movie. I saw this many years ago, and I barely remembered it. And I will admit,
your first question was why are we watching this? And I had to explain it.
And I was surprised that it was as interestingly done as it was, and that it was an actual attempt to change the formula. I'll let you take it away from there.
Yeah, so the reason that I wanted to watch this was I hadn't seen this movie in easily 20 plus years. It probably is closer to 30. It was probably on cable because this was regarded as one of the lesser of the Nightmare films when 3 and 4 especially came out. So it was probably on a lot on Showtime and Cinemax because they weren't playing first-string films. And so this would be a cheap film to run. So I remembered seeing it. I didn't remember much about it, really. I remember bits and pieces. But over the years, I had read about the production of the film and how there was a lot going on with it, particularly that there are definite homoerotic and homosexual not homosexual is the wrong word. There is an undercurrent of struggles with sexual identity in this movie.
It is a weird thing to lay the possession by Freddy Krueger over teenage angst of coming out of the closet.
Yeah, so the main things are the director maintains that he knew nothing about any of this stuff, that he was just directing the script as a straightforward horror film. You watch the movie, you decide whether you actually believe that or not. Robert Englund playing Freddy Krueger after they had another actor playing him and realized that you had to have him, and after they shot one scene with him, which is in the movie, and realized the guy could not do it. The shower scene, if you look at that closely, you will notice the guy is quite a bit heavier and is barely moving and does not have the mannerisms at all, and in fact doesn't look right. But you see him so briefly, it doesn't matter because he's in a lot of fog and mist, and you don't really see him. So it doesn't matter. But they did that scene and they realized, oh no, there's a reason why Robert Englund was chosen to play this, and they paid him the money he asked for, and he came back and did the rest of the movie. Robert Englund said he was aware of what was in that script, and he played into it, in fact, a little too much, because there were scenes that the actor, who was at the time a closeted gay man, said, I'm not doing those scenes, because he felt like it was...
Really?
Too far over the line. But he did, he was, at one point he stuck the knives down the kid's throat, and the actor was like, no, I'm not doing that. He's like, no. This is just uncomfortable. Because he was closeted at the time. But he played the role, he said, as a closeted gay man. So he's playing this with that idea in mind. And that changes a lot of the movie in terms of the story, because there are things that happen that just seem odd if they're just taken as straightforward storytelling. But if there is, and a lot of I didn't know this when we watched it, I found this out later, that there were a number of crew members who were actually, I don't know whether they were closeted or not, but they were planting things to highlight the secondary themes. For example, when the female friend finds a diary in his closet, there's a board game called Probe sitting right there. And that's all stuff they were doing on purpose to kind of subliminally emphasize what was happening. There's stuff around that is supposed to make you understand what the themes are here, or potential. So all that mixed together.
By the way, I just sent you a link when you get a moment, when you have a break.
Oh, that's nice.
No. Wow. I want you to click on the face.
Yeah, I see it. I'm looking at it.
What does that look like to you?
Clearly Scarlett Johansson. Yeah.
No shit, right? Sorry. I was just... I listened to Joe talk, and I was just wondering if there were any modern Phantasm designs out there. And apparently Prime One Studio, for no reason apparently, is putting out a Mask of the Phantasm statue, and they have a version of her with no mask on, and you know what? Shit, she looks like she could be related to Scarlett Johansson. So anyway, yes, I did notice that there was a lot of very interesting details that
there were, and the other thing was that I had seen some images from this of the Freddy Krueger makeup, and he looks very different, and he looks scarier to me. He looks more like an actual burn victim who just got out of the, who escaped the flames but got no treatment. Yeah. And so I thought, okay, I just want to rewatch this. I just want to see if this is, because this is one of those that's undergone a critical reevaluation, and people have said, no, this is better than people thought it was. It's just that Freddy Krueger became a fun, wisecracking, pedophile child murderer later, and everybody was on board with that version. But this was still when they were trying to make him scary and terrifying. And I'm like, I'm more interested in that. I love part 3, but I have never found Freddy Krueger after starting in part 3. He's not scary to me. He's like the Joker.
And I'll say that I did like Freddy's Dead, so I thought it was funny.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying any of those movies are bad, but to me, he becomes the Joker, where I'm like, this isn't really a scary character. He's a wisecracking murderer, and that's fine. But that's all. That to me, that's as far as it goes. In this, it does feel like he is actively just there. There's parts where he's murdering kids so brutally. No wisecracks, no ha-ha-has, no clever setups.
Oh, no,
There's a part at the pool party. Yeah. He just drives his glove into this kid's torso and twists it around and just throws him.
No, yeah, the pool party
and it's
scene,
wow, that is what I would imagine this character is doing. Not going, now you're playing with power and playing with a joystick and making a guy bounce until his head smashes. It's funny, but it's not anything to me. Whereas this is scary. This is a kid who is being possessed by a murderous force for no reason. It's kind of like The Exorcist setup.
He's moved into the house, so supposedly there's a connection there. Yeah,
but that's like The Exorcist, right? Reagan is possessed by that demon, not because she's a bad kid, not because she doesn't believe in God. It's because this shit can just happen to somebody. And they're in the house, but it wasn't an active choice where the dad knew it was cheaper, but the kid didn't know anything.
The dad knew that there was that something had happened there, but he didn't care because he said, we got a good deal on it, and he didn't. Yeah,
this is also the father who thought his son blew up a bird with a fucking M80 up its ass.
I know,
I'm questioning what the dad knew about anything.
Also, though, when you see this, there is a lot of very interesting Stranger Things tie-ins, I have to say. Like when you visually and the way the family is set up, there's just things about this. I was like, I get the sense the Stranger Things guys watched this movie when they were cooking up what they were going to do.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, I think they probably consumed a lot of stuff from this time period. Particularly the stuff that would be pop culture relevant, which would be these movies.
But the dad especially in this reminds me of Mike's dad.
Yeah. Mike's dad. How did he get a wife like that? Boy, oh boy.
I know.
Anyway, I'm not going to get started on Carabuano or we're going to be here for another hour.
Mike's
Anyway,
mom,
in any event, sorry, I'm distracted now. Yeah, so that was the other part is I saw the red eyes that he has, and I don't think they ever did anything with his eyes throughout the movie like they did in this.
No, he always had dark shadows. Eyes. Yeah, very dark.
Yeah,
well, in this, he does.
In this, he does. In this, he's very distinctive looking. And at a point, he doesn't even have the glove anymore. Which, again, they didn't do that until way further down.
The claws are just coming out of his hand.
Yeah, the part where he comes out of the kid.
But I think the thing is that I think what they're trying to establish, and I was thinking about this, is that the second he becomes corporeal, right, it's not him anymore. It is a hybrid of him and the kid, which is evident by the fact that the reason that the glove is coming out of the hand is because the glove is still inside of him in the same way that Freddy is inside of the kid. But the kid is still the body.
The goal seems to be that if he can get Jesse to enjoy killing, that he will fuse with him. Kind of like a Venom situation. So, I agree. But that's what makes it interesting. Is that this is not something we see in the movies.
The possession. This is a poltergeist movie.
Yes. That's the other thing, is the atmosphere is very different.
Yeah, it's different than the others.
Because he walks in and his sister is doing the jump rope rhyming, and the lighting is all blue and it's underneath like an Italian movie where he's just like looking at this thing. Then there's a part where he's standing over his sister with the glove on like he's going to kill her. But the best thing is when...
I thought the sister was going to be the thing that broke him, that Freddy was going to want to kill her and he was going to stop it.
Oh yeah, that's what I couldn't remember if the sister died. So I wasn't actually sure because I hadn't seen this in so long. I couldn't remember if the kid died.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like he didn't have a problem murdering other people. So it could have happened.
I felt, I was genuinely sad when he killed his bully friend.
Yeah. That was a brutal scene too, because the parents are on the other side and the knives come through.
Yeah.
And you just see the blood coming out. And like they're screaming and the guy's screaming, "Get me out of here." It's a terrible scene. I mean, that's what I mean is Freddy is scary in this. And they don't ever call him Freddy. He's always referred to as Fred Krueger.
Fred Krueger, yeah.
Which matures, I said this on the commentary, it feels like it matures the movie. Because Freddy is a child type name. It's like a kid's name.
Yeah, hey,
Freddy. Or somebody that's not a threat name. Hey, Freddy! But he's Fred Krueger, like an adult that is a child murderer, which is what he is. And when he comes out of Jesse's body and he stands up and the skin falls off, that's one of the best effect shots I've seen in a horror movie. Because it's the way he stands up. And he's got the hat off so you see all of him. And his skin is really like blistered and wet and puffy and burned. Which again, once you get to like 3 and after, it becomes not overly mask looking, but it doesn't look real. It looks stylized. Whereas in this, it looks very, and his teeth are like dirty and blackened, which they're not again in the rest of them. Not like this. So he looks very different. He looks menacing. He's in shadow a lot. He's talking very low most of the time. There aren't really, I think he has one sort of wisecracky line, but otherwise he doesn't. It's very sinister. It feels like a serious attempt at these movies that they kind of ran away from, that they decided they wanted to make him into a kind of poster character. And that's what they did, was starting with 3, where he becomes more of a wise ass that just happens to kill kids. But it's like, oh, that quirk that Freddy's got, he just can't help murdering kids. That's what it feels like the rest of the movies for a while are, until they reset it later. But this one stands out. And I think this one is probably as far as Nightmare on Elm Street movies, it's got to be in my top 2. I don't know if it's necessarily going to be my favorite. I might be in the mood more for 3 sometimes because that's a fun movie. But this is anybody who hasn't watched this in a while, especially if you remember it being bad, it is not a bad movie. It's a very good movie. It's very different. It feels like something, as you said, that they were experimenting, but I would recommend it. And I do think this is the best version of Freddy visually of any of the movies. I like him the best in terms of how he looks and how he is.
I think that this, for me, works as well as it does, only because I like that they've done different things with him. So, like, I like that they eventually turned him into a wisecracking murderer. I like Freddy's
I do
dead.
too. Yeah,
and because of that, I think it makes this movie better because you get to see yet another. Because the first movie is like the first run out, right? And the second one, they tried something different. And I think a lot of people didn't like the idea of Freddy being a poltergeist because you're not really sure. Is it Freddy? Is it the kid? What's going on? And then they fell back on the whole, no. He'll just keep... I personally think that he just felt like it was too much work. He was like, fuck it. I'll just kill people in their dreams. He's like, all this killing people in the real world shit is too hard. You know?
Well, it is an outlier too, especially now that all the other ones have happened.
But I will say this though, the stinger ending is one of those few movies where the stinger ending really ruins it for me.
Yeah, stop it as soon as he survives and kisses the girl, and then just turn it off. Stop right there. Yeah, and that too, where he comes out of the body after he gets burned. That's great too, because we weren't sure if he died, and I couldn't remember. So we weren't really sure. But yeah, just stop it there. Stop it right there. The stinger ending is horseshit. Honestly, I have really come to dislike stinger endings in horror movies. I generally, like the first Nightmare on Elm Street, that one's got a great stinger because it's so bad, where he pulls the mom through the window and it's clearly a bad dummy. So it's funny. So it's fine. That gets a pass because it's funny. And also, a lot of people said, well, you could just chalk that up to Nancy having a nightmare and the movie ends and she wakes up. So you could kind of throw that one away. But this, yeah, I don't like it. It's stupid. Because we know the more movies are coming, so now it's pointless. We already know there were more. So to me, that is completely unnecessary, and it undoes what other. It's the only really stupid decision in the whole movie. It
undoes what they've done so well with the movie.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. It's dumb. It's just stop after he hugs the girl, and the movie when it cuts for that scene, just turn it off. Turn it off. You're done. You got the movie. It's a good movie. So yes, that would be my only legitimate play. I completely agree. I actually forgot about it. It's so dumb.
And the argument is that they don't destroy Freddy. All they've really done is destroyed Freddy's attempt to get out through the guy.
Yeah,
that's it. Freddy's fine.
And that
He's
follows
gone back
the first
to the
movie. Once Nancy is no longer afraid, he loses all power over her. Once Jesse understands that somebody genuinely loves him, Freddy loses all power. That's it. That's all you need, is that he's basically rejected Freddy. That's all you have to do. He's the bully system. If you stand up to him and if you're not afraid of him, then he's done. That's the whole reason Freddy versus Jason happens, is because he's now powerless because nobody's afraid of him anymore, because nobody remembers him. He doesn't exist as an independent entity. He, like Zarathos, if nobody believes in him, he has no power. Boy, that's a fucking reference to call back on. But it is. That's Zarathos wanted people to be afraid. And when he didn't, he became the Ghost Rider. Freddy doesn't have anybody afraid of him. He's just stuck in a dream dimension doing nothing with a funky glove. So, yeah. That's why the Stinger sucks.
The funky glove.
Yeah, the funky glove. Freddy's funky glove. That's what the title should have been.
Yeah.
Change this
we were having the whole conversation about him trying to wipe his ass.
Oh, right. Freddy's funky glove. Show title. Thank you.
The funky glove.
So, yes, Nightmare on Elm Street 2, very good movie if you haven't seen it in a while. I enjoyed it.
I was surprised, and I did enjoy it. I thought that it was one of the better done Freddy movies, but like I said, it's good in the pantheon of Freddy movies. The later ones get bad, so this is still kind of good, as opposed to good bad. You know?
Yeah. It's a nice variation on the formula, which I agree with you. I love 3. I think 3 is a fucking riot. That doesn't diminish anything about this movie or vice versa. So the best part about this movie was that it didn't let me down after having not seen it in so long.
I was continuously pleasantly surprised by the direction that it went. They didn't do any of the things I thought they were going to do.
And my enjoyment of it was compounded by the fact that you were clearly dubious up front. And
oh, yeah.
I don't blame you. Because I think you were like, what is this? Why are we watching this?
No, I was very dubious up front. And I mixed no words about it. I was dubious because it's Nightmare on Elm Street 2. You know what I mean? Like it's you're not expecting.
I wasn't
Listen,
sure
I was also dubious about the other movie that you picked.
Yeah.
Because
that one I'd seen more recently, so I had a little bit more confidence in it.
Yeah.
But yes, we went from this, which as a kind of ender, I think we would both recommend it, especially if you haven't seen it in a long time and you remember it as being bad.
Yeah, if you like horror movies, if you want to see something different, if you like Freddy Krueger but you haven't seen this one before, yeah, I think it's one of the better ones. They do something different with that character.
Yep. And like I said, if nothing else, I think the makeup effects and everything for him are really good, and they're really interesting compared to what they did later. So we went from that to what I guess I would call a sequel. I don't think some people have called it a reboot. I don't know that that's really. I don't know what's accurate.
I think it's a soft reboot mixed that works as a sequel. I think it's kind of both.
Maybe the term requel is already out there. If that's what it is, then that's what it is.
Requel. Yeah.
I think it might already exist.
You know what? I just kept thinking of that scene in Total Recall where the guy's like, recall. Yes, recall is something that exists. That is a definition. Total recall. Yeah. Got it.
Total recall.
Yes, I think it's a recall.
So what this is it was a Hulu original.
Which is also kind of amazing.
I said this in the commentary. Yeah, it is. It is. But I think Hulu has a real eye for certain things now that they didn't, I think, in the beginning. But in any event, this is a movie that is a a new entry in a series of films which certainly fell off a quality cliff very, very hard, like Wile E. Coyote with a fucking anvil coming at him, after, I would say, the fourth film. And many people would probably argue after the second film. I would debate that, but my argument gets weaker from 3 to 4, that's for sure. In any event, I don't think anybody's going to say that anything from 5 on until this one is really worth watching. In fact, some of them are laughably not even Hellraiser films where Pinhead is maybe in it for 3 minutes. So, it's not unreasonable to say that people had their doubts that this was going to be good, including me. I really wasn't sure if it was ever going to... Because, to me, Doug Bradley is Pinhead. His voice, his performance, it's all just kind of like Robert Englund with Freddy, where they figured out, oh, we can't just sub any idiot into this. It's hard to... And they did replace Doug Bradley with 2 other people, and those Pinheads are not good. One is far worse than the other, but neither of them are anywhere near as good as he is. And so I wasn't really sure, but when it came out, I saw it when it first came out because it had gotten fairly good reviews. So
and you had reviewed it.
Watch it. I reviewed it.
You did review, and you reviewed it well, and I completely forgot.
Yes, I did review it. I did like it, but I don't know that you would ever have watched this if I didn't have you watch it.
No, I would watch this. I would watch a movie like this with you. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's why I was like, all right, well, this is... I wanted to see what you thought of it because I thought the characters, particularly the main character, were really, really well written. I like the whole movie, but I really like the main character because she is not a classic final girl archetype. She's not noble and, she's not painted as the virtuous... young innocent who doesn't know anything and gets caught in this way. She's not Kirsty. Kirsty in the first Hellraiser.
Listen, she's not a bitch. She's not a horrible person. What she is she's a recovering addict. And she's made mistakes. She's not a bad person. She's just trying to recover. And she has
I made the mistake of saying she was unlikable when we started the commentary, and that was the wrong term. It was
and the thing is,
term, but she's flawed. She's flawed.
Yeah, and this movie... so David Goyer wrote this movie. And David Goyer has this thing where he either really nails it or he totally misses it. And when I look at his scripts, that's the thing. It's like he either does a really great job or he misses completely. He doesn't I'm not middling on Goyer. He's either great or he isn't. And the fact that he's great some of the time is fantastic, right? So you just never know though whether you're getting a great Goyer or a not great Goyer. I think this is a great Goyer. I think that the script he wrote for this. Is really well done, and much the same way that A Nightmare on Elm Street has some allegories to being gay and closeted and coming out of the closet. This is far more of an allegory on addiction and recovery and who your addiction destroys. Because what's very fascinating about this movie is that the main girl, I can't remember her name. I keep wanting to call her Christy. What was her name?
Riley.
Riley is a recovering addict. It is her situation that gets all the people that she's living with involved. And what's fascinating is that the people who then get destroyed in the movie by the Cenobites are the people who would be destroyed by addiction. So her brother is taken. Her roommate is taken. In the end, her boyfriend is also taken. She is left basically with her brother's boyfriend as the only survivor in this movie. Which, if you think about it, that would be the person that would be least hurt by their addiction, right? So there's a huge metaphor in there for addiction, and then the decision that she makes at the end, which is not to wish for anything, is to say the trick with addiction is to just walk away. Is to say no, I'm not doing this. This is a no. I'm not going to win this battle. I'm not going to. I can't control this. I just need to walk away and live with the fact that I made mistakes. Which is what she does. She doesn't wish for anything. And in the movie, that context works because she does listen to that guy basically say, they always find a way to make it into a trick. And that guy was kind of fucked because the main villain guy, not the main villain, he's the main villain. What is it? The other guy who had asked for something from them, who had that giant machine in his chest. He really wanted to get it out of his body, but he didn't realize that he was in a shit situation because there's no take backs. There was only trade-ins. But you know what? doesn't that mean he could have traded in for the lament configuration and walked away?
Sure.
Because in the end,
But
that's
he was
the thing.
greedy.
But he was
greedy and self-absorbed, so he would never think.
Yeah, so instead, I want power. Give me power. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
But this movie is, it was utterly surprising in how well written it was. You know, I love to bitch about the bad writing in movies. This was, for a Hulu horror movie, this was exceptionally well written. The pacing was well done. I didn't know where it was going to go, but in a good way. It managed to hold on to a lot of Hellraiser logic from the other movies, but also find new interesting things to do. Visually, it looked really good. The cage house was an interesting turn towards the end there. And the Cenobites look fucking horrible. Like, not horrible like bad, like horrible like fucking just like scary and painful. They are uncomfortable to look at. You know, and I think that's the thing. Like, you know, everyone was like, "Oh, Pinhead's a woman." I don't really give a shit. I was never that attached to Pinhead. I did think that it was the other Cenobites that gave you a sense of awkwardness, but they were always fairly S&M-y. You know what I mean? Like, that was the kind of the joke about it. Whereas in this, they're not really S&M anymore. Now they are genuinely off-putting. Like, when you see them, there is kind of a physical anxiety about them. You know, and the Hellraiser movies are dangerous in that they flirt with murder pornography. Like, that's kind of the idea. Like, you know, it flirts, because like there's a few death sequences in this movie that even I was like, you know, this is almost too much. But I get in the larger context what it's about. One of the things that really helped me with this movie, and why I do think it is a really well done movie, is because there's one thing you got to think about, that if you put it into context, it really changes the Cenobites, right? And I don't know how you got me there, but you didn't intend to. You were kind of talking about other things, but you got me there, which is the idea that the Cenobites are people, yes, they're the people, because they were all people who ended up there the same way by basically looking for the Leviathan, right, which is their god.
Yes.
The Cenobites are people who are pursuing something to excess, right? They were pursuing something that was more. They wanted to feel more. They wanted to do more. They wanted to go beyond Earth's range of mortal sensation. And for them, pleasure and pain are the same thing. And the second you remove that border and say pleasure and pain are the same thing, ergo, you know, sensation is the thing, the Cenobites, you know, it's funny because they become less scary. Because it's more of a misunderstanding. It's like they don't want to they don't stick that machine in that guy's chest because they want to hurt him. They gave him what they thought he wanted. Sensation.
Right.
Something absolutely unique that every time it happened, he would have a max reaction to it, right? But in their point of view, pleasure and pain are the same thing. So, if anything, that's why, like, in this movie, Pinhead is so kind of put out when he's like, "You don't want our gift?" You know? And it's like, because as far as they're concerned, they gave you exactly what you wanted, and you're an asshole. Once I put things into that context, I was like, you know what? That's the funny thing. And I think I said it during the movie where we were talking about, like, you know, people who there's S&M people who like to get put into, like, the vacuum beds, right?
Right. Yeah.
And that shit scares me. Like I have a little bit, that's the kind of claustrophobia that I do have. But I have seen people get put into those things and, like, you know, really, really, really like it. So I do endeavor to the possibility that there is a whole range of sensations of enjoyment that I do not have. But someone might. There is the possibility that someone can. And the Cenobites, when you look at them, you realize they are creatures taken to max sensation, right? So so at first I found them to be scary and off-putting, right? Like, kind of like I said, like visual anxiety. But then I realized, no, in a really funny way, they're people having a really good time. Like, These are people who want sensation. What you're looking at is the magic extreme taken to create unimaginable, awesome sensation on these people. Right? That fits their particular kink, whatever it may be. Right? Because the thing is, the Cenobites don't look like they're having a bad time. Like none of them, they don't seem to be unhappy with their situation. However they ended up there, they've come to be what they are. So once I kind of thought about it that way, suddenly it became a really different, interesting movie to me, because the Cenobites are people that have taken addiction to its impossibility. Right? Because what's the nature of addiction? You keep adding more and more and more and more. You don't stop, right? It's the whole, you get adjusted to it, and then you want more. Then you got to do something else. You get adjusted, and you want more. And then that's how you get drug overdoses, or that's how you get these people who can't just stop doing drugs because it might fucking kill them to come off of it that quickly, right? People who become so addicted to the sensation, to the chemicals, to whatever it is, that what is the end goal? Well, the end is that you either stop or it kills you. But what if it didn't kill you? What if you could just keep going? What if you could take your addiction off to magical heights? That's a Cenobite. That is Pinhead. Pinhead is addiction taken to an impossible conclusion, where it has consumed you, and all you want to do is visit its joy upon other people. And in that sense, it becomes a very different movie, because it's about a addict who gets tricked into this situation, who then has to make the choice to walk away and say no to the possibility of endless addiction. She has to say no to the power, to the sensation, to all of it. She has to pick regret. In the face of these beings who've managed to figure out a way to take addiction to an impossibility. And the only difference is that to them, pleasure and pain are the same thing. But maybe once you get there, maybe it becomes the same thing for you too. So
I will say
go ahead.
that. Oh, well, actually, hold on a minute.
200 hours later.
To your point, in the second Hellraiser film, which I don't know how long it's been since you've seen that, so you probably don't remember the specifics of it. But in the second film, one of the main characters is Dr. Chenard, who runs this psychiatric institute, and he's been researching, much like the villain in this, or the guy with the thing in his chest.
Is he the one that wants to be God or something like that?
Well, okay. All right. This is the interesting part. He wants to know what it is. He wants to go into the labyrinth and know what it is, right? So what he does is he's got 3 boxes. He's got the mattress that Julia died on that he puts a guy on to get him to kill himself on it. He's got all these writings and diagrams. So he's researched it to try to find out, but he doesn't really know. So what he's trying to do is figure out how to cross over. And so that's why he brings Julia back, and then she takes him in there. And then when they get there, he's all mystified and he's wondrous about it. And then this machine comes up and grabs him, and it starts ripping him up and turning him into one. And he's screaming. And she says, "You wanted to see, you wanted to know, now you know." And it pulls him down, right? And it looks like it's just going to kill him. But then it comes back up and he's in it. And his first line is, "To think I hesitated," which indicates he's into it because now he's got the power. So it definitely is the case that at least some of these people, and you would think the ones that follow Pinhead, they're not suffering, or their suffering is a state of ecstasy at the same time. So there definitely is that element where I think some people incorrectly read it as, oh, they're going to just take you and torture you like you're in hell. And it's not that.
But that's the thing. That's what's so fascinating, is that it's never meant to be torture. It is meant to be. Yeah, they if you took this, it'd be so funny if you took the Cenobites and you just switched it to pleasure, right? Overwhelming, immobilizing pleasure, right? Think how different these movies would be if, when they caught you, they ended you. They kind of ended you didn't want to do anything else in life because all you wanted to do was to be in that dimension, being overwhelmed with endless pleasure. You know what I mean?
Sensation.
With sensation. The difference is that they've attributed it to pain rather than pleasure, but to them, pleasure and pain are the same thing.
I've talked about this before. I've mentioned this here and there, but I remember very vividly that when I was younger and my baby teeth were coming out, you know how your baby teeth would get loose?
Yeah.
I always kind of liked the pain of a loose tooth. A little bit. It's the closest I've ever come to understanding any of that stuff.
Well, you're a step away from being a Cenobite then, sir.
That's what I'm saying is, it's not like I can't figure out how that connection can work. I can't go past it a certain point. There was a point where I pushed too hard in the teeth. I'm like, no, this just hurts now.
There's people I've known in this life that very much make me understand that for them, pain was pleasure.
Yeah, and I think what they did intelligently in this movie, unlike the older movies, because in the older movies, like Pinhead, when you look at his clothing, a lot of his cuts were just actively bleeding, which just looked bad.
Oh, no, they're very clean.
Whereas in this one, it's clean, and there's a lot of ornamentation like self-piercing. Like there's a lot of jeweled pins that are holding the skin on.
All her pins on her head had like a pearl end on them, didn't they?
Yeah, and then she has the gold decorations in the neck, and other ones have these decorations that make it look ornamental. So it's not that they're just stuck like this and they don't get... It seems like they decorate themselves and mutilate themselves in a way that makes them happy to be like that. So there definitely is that aspect of, okay, some people can hang with this and some people can't. And this guy, and I feel like... And the movie never explicitly says this, but this is my interpretation. And I don't know if I really thought about this the first time I watched it, when I reviewed it the last time, but that thing that's in him is torturing him. It does not seem like he's having a good time. And I think that's because also, they understood that his motives were corrupt. They were not...
Hold on.
You know,
it's what they say something about it. That thing is basically... It's essentially like... It's messing with his nerves, right? But it messes with his nerves on such a wavelength and at certain periods of time that he can't adjust to it. So that every time he feels it, it's like he can't adapt to the sensation, right?
Right.
But here's the thing. If to you, pain and pleasure are the same thing, I've just given you an orgasm that you can't get used to.
Yeah.
That every time feels like a new orgasm. Right?
Yeah.
The only problem is that pain and pleasure, to me, are the same thing. For you, they're not. It's your problem, not mine. See?
And this is the same as in the first movie, where Frank, the brother, the scumbag brother, says, you know, I thought that this was the next thing, and I didn't realize I wasn't cut out for it. And it's just, that's it. So he basically, it's like, you better understand what you're fucking with, and whether you're really looking for what you're looking for, because what you think the next thing is doesn't mean that's what everybody thinks the next thing is.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's definitely
that's
a miscommunication of alien psychology here. You know?
Yeah.
Because, I mean, what do you do? What happens when you deal with beings where pleasure and pain are the same thing? That's what it is. And you're asking them for things. And you know, when he says it's a trick, it's not a trick. It's a miscalculation on your part. You never... If you understood... that for the Cenobites, pleasure and pain are the same thing, you'd be very careful about what you would ask them for.
Yeah, it's a level of arrogance that you understand everything.
I would be petrified to ask them for anything, because they also have a sense of humor. So,
yeah,
yes, I was so surprised at how good this movie was. It really was. Like, I mean, it stayed with me. It was on my mind. I've thought about it a few times since. I've kind of put together, like, different rationalizations. The whole pleasure-pain thing finally occurred to me, and I was, like, kind of moving that around in my head. And no, I think this is one of the really great Goyer movies. I think he did a really good job, and everyone in it is good. All the actors do a good job. The lead girl is, I mean... Yeah, I was not let down at all. I was so surprised at how good it was, and I mean, good for Hulu. I mean, they did Prey after this, right?
Yeah, Prey was I don't remember what year it was, but it was fairly close to this one. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So, I mean, clearly they're doing something right.
Yeah.
It works really well. I liked it. And the thing is, this isn't usually my bag. Like, I wouldn't have seen this without you. But having seen it, I do see it for the art that it is. And here's the thing. If you just want to watch this as like a horror movie, you can. The Cenobites are fucking scary looking. Right? It is fascinating as just a run-of-the-mill horror movie. But why watch it like that when you can add all this other shit to it to make it even more whoa,
Yeah.
And that's what I like. That's what I want out of a horror movie, is for there to be a whole other level of what's going on. Also, the addition of the phase shapes of the puzzle box are great. I love that it shifts through different shapes and stuff, that it's very mechanical, and every shape is kind of its own weird puzzle. Like, I love that. There's a lot of smart shit. It's like Goyer watched the Hellraiser movies and had just made that little checklist next to him of like neat things I can do with this franchise, and then he did it, and then they actually followed a lot of it. So yeah, it was good.
Yeah, I agree. I think that the changes made are good changes, which is not always the case. Sometimes with this type of stuff, they just change something to say, well, we're just not doing the same thing. You're like, well, yeah, but why? You just changed it to say you changed it. Whereas, like you said, the box being different forms factors into the sacrifices that you have to make to get to the request. Like, you have to level yourself up to the point where you're allowed to ask for something, and the box reflects where you are. And the final form is the Leviathan form, which is when you get to ask Leviathan for something.
Yeah.
So it makes complete sense. It's a very logical reason. And in fact, I like the fact that the first shot makes the box look like it's normally what it is, and then it changes the perspective and you understand it's distended and it's long. But at first you're like, oh yeah, there's the box. It's a little bit different. I do like there's color in it. They add a little bit of like a teal color. It's got some differentiation in the visuals. I think it's actually sort of a more interesting thing. It looks more like something you'd want to pick up and examine and then naturally start to play with. I mean, the original box does too, but this one looks really seductive from like this is a valuable object.
I think the box has something, a field on it that makes people compelled to fuck with it.
Well, that's okay. So that is one interesting aspect of this, because there's a point early on where Riley has her pills and she throws them out and then she takes them. And you had said, is the box making her take them? And my interpretation is that the box is not making her take them. In fact, that's supposed to indicate that she is this flawed person.
That she is susceptible to it? That she's susceptible to it?
Yeah, so I believe that whether that box was there or not, she was taking those pills. I don't think the box made her do that.
So that was all.
But I also think the box does go to people who are more likely to fall into its trap. So, but that's you can read it either way. That's just my read of it. That's
Well, I thought it was good. I thought it was.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you. To me, I think this is probably one of the best Hellraiser movies I've seen since like the first one.
Oh, even though
I like the second one a little bit.
Movies. Well, the second one has a lot of. The second one is even a little too gory for me at times, where I'm like, okay, this is a lot.
This is, I mean, just every level of the design. There's been so much thought to it. So no, I think it's great.
Yes, let's put it this way. My wife had never seen the first one. She watched it. She was happy to have seen it once. I don't know that she'd ever want to watch it again.
Got it.
But this is now I'm not going to show her 2. 2 is too gory, and I know she won't like it.
Yeah.
I will watch this with her because this is a good movie. So I would definitely put this in.
I think that's the thing is
two.
if you can, for non-horror movie people, this is still a good movie because it's about more than just horror.
Correct. So even though I own the 4Ks of the first 4 movies, which I like them all, but I clearly would put this into the top 2 or 3 in terms of quality. This is definitely a better written movie than 3 or 4. As much as I like those movies, they're not always well written. This is solidly written all the way through. So the fact that you liked this as much as you did reinforces that it's a well-written movie. Because you're not as much of a horror person as I am. I knew I was going to like at least the gore.
But like I said, it goes beyond that. It becomes and the moments in this movie. Like I didn't expect the boyfriend to be the turncoat. I knew that he was shifty, but I didn't expect him to turn on her. And then I thought he still cared about her. And then when she basically flips it on him, I was like, "Oh man, that's a well done setup." You know, so it's great. I go on about liking good writing in movies. This has good writing. This has some of the best writing I've seen in a Hellraiser. And even Clive Barker was still kind of signed on to this. So,
yeah. Oh, yeah.
You know? And I think that in a weird way, I feel like this gets closer to the original idea of Hellraiser with Clive Barker, the idea of it being about the sensation and the addiction and wanting more, and you know, and I mean it's still a prevalent statement about people today, because you know people want more, they want the bigger, better, more feeling, you know. It's like well, where does that logically end? Where does excess end? And it ends with, you know, you either walk away, you die, or you become a Cenobite.
Yeah.
You know? Which isn't necessarily a good thing. I mean, they are essentially the minions of a sensation god. What would you call Leviathan, really?
Well, I mean, they never really specify, but it does. They call themselves, I think she says, we're explorers in the furthest reaches of sensation. So under that,
I have my own headcanon. I like to think of Leviathan as like a machine elf who's kind of gone out on his own thing, and that these are all his priests.
They never. I know there's been comics and stuff, but Leviathan has never been. I've never read any definition of what Leviathan is, but it makes sense to me that he is essentially the furthest idea of hedonism. That, you know, whatever sensation is for you, he's it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I could see that.
I mean, and honestly, in the end, even when the guy is getting crucified and having his skin flayed off, he's not looking at something that looks hellish. He's looking at what looks like heaven would be.
Well, he's looking at a cosmic butthole is what he's looking at.
Well, yeah, but I mean, it's light, and it's like a light blue and white. It looks heavenly. It doesn't look hellish.
The line that you cut is when basically the girl, Riley, says that she chooses to get nothing from them, to walk away.
Right.
And Pinhead basically is impressed with her decision to pick one of the most intense sensations of all of them, which is to walk away with regret, to have that weigh on her for the rest of her life. And she is genuinely there. I mean, it sounds almost like she is impressed with her to say, "Oh, you chose that sensation. Holy shit. Okay." You know, it's the only time that she seems to have any kind of emotion, really. So, which is to say that the Cenobites are impressed with all sensation. So I think Goyer and the director here have managed to upgrade the Cenobites a little bit, in my eyes. I think it's about more than it was before, and I hope that if they make another one of these, whoever makes them holds on to that idea.
No, I think that I agree that this is the most significant improvement in fleshing out the world of the labyrinth, or whatever they want to call it, the sensation dimension, whatever it is, since 2. After 2, it feels like they kind of gave up on it doing anything but a standard horror movie where Pinhead was just a lunatic. And this feels like the first one since 2 where they were like, no, let's talk about what these creatures actually are and what they are doing and what your involvement with them could entail. After 2, starting with 3, it was just Pinhead shows up and murders people with chains. And that was really and makes blasphemous comments. That's really all he did. So Not that there's not entertainment in that. There certainly is. But it was not really serious writing anymore. And it only got worse and worse and worse every single time. So, yeah. I mean, honestly, even in Bloodlines, the more interesting character is not Pinhead, it's Dominique, because she was essentially a victim of demonic sexism. Which, and I'm not kidding, that's what she was. And that's more interesting, was, even in this dimension, women are still lesser, and it's going to piss them off, and it's probably not a great idea to keep shitting on people because they're going to whip around and rip your face off. So that movie, even, it wasn't Pinhead. It was Dominique as a demon. That was more interesting. So there was a little bit of it, but, even that movie got butchered and chopped up by and it got demolished. But the original idea was interesting, is, okay, some things are shitty in every dimension. And so what does that look like? This is the first really, let's revisit the central idea and try to flesh it out in interesting ways. And it works.
We'll have to see if Hulu wants to make any more of these, or if they're just going to keep moving on to other ideas.
Yeah, it would be interesting to see what they would do as a follow-up. I will be fine if they just leave this alone.
No, it works. It works.
Just don't come back.
Yeah. Yeah, but you know what?
It works.
But see, they can make another one, because the thing is, the Cenobites themselves are never going to stop looking for sensation, and certain people will do it right, and certain people won't. So I think you can make more of these. It's just that you're going to need writing. You need good writers.
Well, the an interesting aspect would be exactly what you were talking about.
They are making a sequel.
Okay, well, depending on that, an interesting aspect would be, okay, what happens if somebody becomes one of these things and likes it? How do you explore that? Can you explore that?
We joked about that. Yeah, what happens when they find someone who's like, yeah, bring it on. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it could be interesting. Actually, okay, there is a way to do it. I just thought of it, which is similar to this movie. You're following a character who had a brother, a loved one, whoever, disappeared and thought that they were murdered. And the whole movie is uncovering what they got involved in, thinking that they were a hostage or whatever. And the end is they find the relative, and the relative's like, I'm happy here. This is what I wanted. This may not be what you think is a good ending, but it is for me. Now go away before I have to rip your fucking face off. That would be interesting. Well, I'd watch that movie.
Both in talks to make a sequel.
No, we'll see what they do. But like I said, that would be my logical follow-up is...
And they haven't ruled out Doug Bradley being involved, because, as they said, Pinhead can appear in different shapes and forms, which is the thing they left that door open for themselves. They said, because at one point they said this time it's a woman.
Well,
so
I mean, he could be, because remember, the Pinhead of the book is a woman. It's not the Pinhead we got in the movies.
Well, he could play somebody else. What Doug Bradley
was playing was essentially the engineer. So they could make him a non-Pinhead character from that universe. They could do it.
He should come back as the engineer. That would be awesome.
Yeah, I mean, he could be the anthropomorphization of Leviathan in a human form. That'd be interesting.
Well, I thought it was good, and so people that should see this movie. If you're okay with horror and you want to see a movie that's an interesting metaphor for addiction, you should see this movie. If you like horror movies, I think you should see this movie. If you do not like horror movies, it's a hard sell, because visually it does some fucked up shit. And the thing I like but is scary about the Cenobites is that once you are involved in this world, the walls of reality don't really protect you. They can kind of get to you wherever you're going. In fact, there's a really great sequence where, I mean, they're driving the car away and the road is shifting around them because, and in the end, that sequence where they get her in the van, I think that should be one of the scariest sequences in a Hellraiser movie franchise, period. Because it says... Oh,
yeah, the whole back of the van stretching out and becoming a hallway from the labyrinth is great.
Yeah, once you've been marked, you cannot escape. and you cannot run. And they basically, they get her even in the back of a moving van. They shift her into their own reality. And the way they do it is really, really quite cool, where, like, you know, the car is still moving, and then suddenly she's in their realm. And that, honestly, I think that was one of the deaths that bothered me the most. You know, because there is genuinely...
Well, also the fact that you see the trees they're lit in red because of the rear taillights, which is just what happens. And it's automatically sinister, even though right then, at the beginning, it's just the taillights. But that's what it looks like when taillights are on. So
it is genuinely very creepy, that part. The way, you know, and it's that whole, you know, once you're marked, you can't escape it. You cannot get away. They, you know, the walls of reality themselves will not protect you, you know. So it's, I like that. I think it's well done.
Well, I think, so Super Cop we can recommend to any action fan. That's an easy one.
Yes.
Just to kind of summarize. Anybody, if you like action, you'll likely have a very good time with it. It's a fun movie. If you are into horror films, I think both the horror films we've talked about revisited a concept and tried to do something different, and I think both are successful in what they're trying to do. You know, Nightmare on Elm Street 2 was trying something different from what the first movie did. People didn't really like it. They wanted to go back to what 3 and the rest became. Fine. But it's a good movie on its own, minus that stupid stinger. And Hellraiser 2022 is easily the best movie after the first two. It's not even, in terms of pure quality, if you kind of just got more and more disappointed, because not everybody is as much of a guilty fan of 3 and 4 as I am, if you feel like it went off the cliff after 2, this is where it comes back to quality. This is a new entry that takes all the stuff that worked in the original, doesn't get rid of really any of it, just recontextualizes and expands. And expands in a way that makes it more interesting. Because sometimes there is always the danger that if you start explaining the villain too much, you just destroy it and you water it down to the point of, oh, I wish I just hadn't known. Take, for example, the background of the xenomorph. The more we find out, the less interesting it is in the movies. Now, the series is a different animal entirely. That's its own thing. But the more they tried to explain the xenomorph, for most people, the worse it got. So it's not always good. And like, did I really need to know that Anakin was a virgin birth? I don't think I did. So there's a lot of times where delving too far into the villain is bad. You just need just enough. But sometimes you can expand that universe and make it more interesting, and I think that's what this movie does. So we liked all 3 of these. 2 of them are harder recommendations than the other ones. But yeah, especially Hellraiser, because you are correct. There is true squirmy gore. As opposed to Nightmare on Elm Street 2, there's gore, but it's not that bad. It's more of, you know, it's more blood as opposed to, you know, somebody's skin being peeled off their arm, which does happen in Hellraiser. So if you can't take somebody's skin being peeled off their forearm, you're going to have a problem.
Yeah, so, with razor wire too, yeah.
It's a little harsher than most of the stuff we've watched. That's for sure. That was the one place where I was not sure if it was going to be a little over the line for you, because it is at times it does hit that border. But if it hadn't been written well enough,
if it hadn't been written as well as it was, it'd be too much. It's the fact that
it manages.
Yeah,
it skirts that cliffside real closely, but it manages to stay on the road. That's the important part. It doesn't. It's not done just to shock you. It is done in service of a story. And that's why it works. So, on that note, we've talked about light bulbs, necrophilia once again somehow, and 3 good movies. So on that note, I think there's not much left for us to say. So whatever you do with your weekend, have a good time doing it, and we'll talk to you again next week. Visit OzoneNightmare.com to subscribe to new episodes, browse through our back catalog, or to find links to support the show. Follow @OzoneNightmare on Twitter for the latest episode postings and other show information. If 280 characters just isn't enough, you can always email us, theozonenightmare@gmail.com. The opening theme for the show is provided by Heartbeat Hero. The closing theme is provided by Ogre. Please visit and support these artists using the links in the show notes for each episode.